After 82 games, all that stands between the Blackhawks and the Stanley Cup is 16 wins. Hard work, belief, and perseverance have served as the vehicle that brought the Blackhawks into a position to compete once again for team sports' most prestigious trophy. The Hawks go for win number 1 tonight against a high-powered Colorado team, determined to protect the title that is rightfully theirs. The quest begins tonight. It's Stanley Cup playoff hockey live on Sports Channel.
National Hockey League is ready to embark on its second season as the Chicago Blackhawks open up the Stanley Cup playoffs, taking on the defending champions, the Colorado Avalanche. Hello again, everybody. Pat Foley and Dale Talon from McNichols Arena in the Mile High City. It's just as well everybody's record is 0-0 right now. The other team won the President's Cup. The Blackhawks struggled to get in, but maybe that'll be beneficial to them.
Well, I think the Blackhawks are going in as underdogs, but I think the Blackhawks have played better in the last 20 games than Colorado has. Colorado struggled. They had that big win against Dallas to win first overall, but prior to that, 2 losses to San Jose and a loss to Toronto. So they're not playing well, and obviously the pressure's on them. The Blackhawks come in and keep this game going long, go deep into it, and keep it tied or be ahead by a goal or whatever, and see how Colorado reacts. So clearly the pressure's on them to repeat. The Blackhawks come in here, no one's expecting them to do anything, and they've played well the last 2 games in this building.
The struggle all season long for Chicago has been at the offensive end of the ice, but they have had a terrific season from Tony Amonte. They're going to need a big series from him, too.
Well, Tony Amonte and Jamnoff are going to have to be the key, obviously, but the young players as well. Amonte had a brilliant year with 41 goals and some critical goals. Played hard, played game in and game out, was the best Blackhawk by far, and he's going to have to be the best Blackhawk once again in the playoffs.
And a young guy who had a subpar first half of the season but has come on like gangbusters lately, had a big finish, big number 55.
Well, Eric Daze, as we stated, was a big guy, missed training camp. It took him a long time to get into shape, lost his confidence, and then finished strongly. That line, Morrow, Chance, and Daze, could be the key as far as the Blackhawks are concerned. It gives them another dimension offensively.
Well, offensively, the Blackhawks, if they can ever get that third goal, they usually have a fair amount of success, and that's going to be tough to do against a very good club.
Well, it's very difficult to do against Colorado and Patrick Roy, but they're capable of doing it. They're 27-5-7 when they score 3 or more. They're 7-30-6 when they only score 2 or less. So that's been their nemesis all year, offense, and I think their power play is going to be the difference. They're going to have to come through in critical situations in these games.
Now, when you look at the numbers over the 82-game regular season schedule, the Hawks and the Avalanche match up wonderfully at the defensive end. Their goals against were about the same. The big difference offensively, Colorado scored over 50 goals more than the Blackhawks did, and they have a multi-talented set of forwards led by Peter Forsberg.
Well, they're really strong up the middle from goaltender all the way up, and at center ice they've got Forsberg and Sakic. You shut down one and the other comes through, and both those guys missed a lot of time this year with key injuries. They're back and playing at 100%, and that's the key. And then they throw Mike Ricci at you up the middle and Steven Yell, and this is a very deep team. They don't have many weaknesses. The only thing I can see, if you're physical with them, you might be able to grind them down in a long series.
Well, that's what the Blackhawks are going to have to try to do, play physically, but play that in a smart way. And when they get the puck into the offensive end for Chicago, they're going to have to try to solve. A future Hall of Famer, Patrick Roy, is going to carry this team as far as they can go.
Well, they say he's had his best year competitively, won 38 games. He's also won 86 games in the playoffs. Jeff Hackett has yet to win one as a starter. 86-0, they're saying in the paper. He's the key. If he plays well, it's going to be tough. If he has a subpar series, Hawks can knock him off.
Well, the Blackhawks get ready to embark on their Stanley Cup quest. They take on the Colorado Avalanche, who own the silver hardware already. The Blackhawks take on Colorado for Game 1. We'll come back and open it up in a moment on the Blackhawk Network.
Don't forget that we will have Game 2 of the Western Conference quarterfinals coming up here on Sports Channel. Same drill as tonight. Game time at 7. The puck will drop at 7:30. That's Game 2 coming up Friday right here on Sports Channel. And also, as another note, as Murray and I get you ready for the drop of the puck in tonight's game, we will be live in the locker room at the United Center following Game 3 on Sunday. So we'll keep going with our regular drill of coverage from the United Center. Even though it's an afternoon game, tune in when the game is over to Sports Channel because we'll get you covered from the United Center. The Colorado Avalanche had to hold on through the last week of the regular season to claim their first President's Trophy, which goes to the NHL team with the best regular season record. But considering the trend that has developed during the decade of the 90s, there may be a day when we will look back and the Avalanche might say, we just wish Dallas may have passed us, because the only team The only team that has won the Stanley Cup championship and winning the President's Trophy in recent years was the New York Rangers. All the other teams that have won the President's Trophy in the regular season have flamed out before winning the Stanley Cup, although Detroit in '95 and Boston in 1990 did get to the Stanley Cup final, but the one everybody remembers around here, Murray, was 1991 when the Blackhawks drove and drove and drove through the end of the season to get the President's Cup and then ended up losing to Minnesota in the opening round of the playoffs in a raft of bad penalties.
Well, getting the President's Trophy to me is not the end-all, obviously, but it's a nice thing to have if you can win it in the right way. In other words, you're talking about when Keenan was here driving the players and pushing them, and everything was real tough because they had to win this trophy. Well, that grind just got to be too much. If you're just playing regularly and winning the games, to win it's great.
Time now for Game 1 in the Western Conference quarterfinals. Murray and I will see you at the intermission. Let's go to Denver. Here's Pat Foley and Dale Talon.
McNichols Sports Arena in Denver. The Colorado Avalanche had the best home record in the entire National Hockey League through the regular season. They set a franchise record for home wins with 26. The Blackhawks, though, were one of the better road teams in the league. They won more games on the road than they did at home, and they'll be put to quite a test tonight against the defending champions who start their quest to defend.
Well, Jeff Hackett's 41 appearances in the regular season with 19 victories, 18 losses and 4 ties, 216 goals against, and a save percentage of just under 93%. Only a second start in playoff competition as far as the Blackhawks. 62 games, 38 victories, led the league. Goals against a .232, save percentage of over 92%.
And the officials tonight, the referee will be Mark Fawcett, the linesman, Gord Brossiker, and Dan McCourt. And the Brent Sutter line with Cummins and Probert opens up against the Joe Sakic line with Lemieux and Jones. And Jim Cummins has already had a bit of a conversation with Keith Jones as they started to get ready for this opening draw. And here it is. The series is underway. And the Avalanche able to dump it in. Over to the far side, Jones and Chelios come together. Then Sakic dug it out of the corner. Joe Sakic centered. The pass was behind Ozolinsh, who tried to sneak in, though. Back of the goal, Sakic. Chelios gave him a jolt. Puck came loose. Lemieux, a shot is blocked. And Karam to the near side where Bob Probert turns and bounced it out to center. Brent Sutter flipped it into the Colorado zone. It bounced just away from Probert. And then outside the line, and the offside whistle sounds.
Chris Chelios gives Jones a shot. Chelios remembers it was Jones that put him out for 8 games with that hit from behind in this building in the last time they met here in the regular season. And Chelios gives him a shot.
Well, we anticipated that the Blackhawks, Dale, will try to be a bit physical if they can with this team, but you've got to be careful when you're doing it. Their power play is one of the better ones in the NHL.
Controlled is the key. You can't go out of your way to try and take a piece of somebody. When the opportunity arises, you got to take advantage of it, but you also stay out of the box.
Now the draw cleared into the Colorado zone. It bounced to the near corner. Going to have a penalty against the Avalanche. Centering pass, and Craven shot it just wide. Over to the far side it goes. The Avalanche control. The whistle sounds. And the Blackhawks are going to get the game's first power play.
48 seconds into the game, the Hawks will get the advantage. A high sticking penalty on foot. And this is a good time for the Blackhawk power play to get on track. They played better of late, and the bad news, Pat, Alexei Zhamnov tried practice yesterday, and then after the practice felt okay, and then in the middle of the night had severe pain and is unable to go.
So Dennis Savard is in the Blackhawk lineup in his place, and the Blackhawks get the first power play of the series. The Hawk power play finished the year strongly. The regular season, the last 2 games that they played, the Hawks were 3 out of 7 with a man advantage. Here's the draw to Chelios. His long shot. Wow, fought it off through traffic. Rebound to the near side. Suter came away with it. Far point to Chelios. Deep slot to Suter. Now a centering attempt is picked off, and John Clem racing back the other way. Fires a long one. Hackett with a blocker save on that. Amati, Shantz, and Daze are the Hawks forwards to open up this power play as it's dumped into the Colorado zone. Amati kicked it loose to the near corner. Chasing forward himself, got a big hit from Clem. Then Suter held it in for Daze centering. That was way out of the reach of Shantz, and the puck cleared back to center ice. Now the Hawks Suter going to be a penalty as Chelios set a pick. Down went Clem, and Clem just flailing to the ice, making sure the officials saw that he was going to hit the deck.
The power play goes for naught. One quality chance on a Chris Chelios blast that hit Waugh in the screen, but Chelios makes the pass, and that was an inadvertent collision there, and the arm went up in a hurry. Amante, I think, cutting in around, got a piece of him, and that will be the penalty.
Yeah, I said Chelios, but indeed it's Amante who was the person to be sent off at the 1:32 mark. So it'll be 4 skaters aside for just over a minute, and then a very short Colorado man advantage. Valerie Kaminsky, one of 6 20-goal scorers on this Colorado team. The Blackhawks had 3 20-goal scorers, and the last 2 guys didn't reach that plateau till the final weekend of the regular season. Colorado was 6 guys that had 20. They had 2 more guys that had 18 goals. One of the reasons that they were 54 goals better than the Hawks. The goals against are about the same between these teams, but Colorado scored 54 goals more than Chicago. Here comes Forsberg over the line, put it across, and Kaminsky whiffed on a one-time attempt. Now Eric Weinrich able to send it to Gary Suter to center. He carries it to the Colorado line, but it's removed, dragging the puck at the Avalanche line, forces the play offside.
Well, Dennis Savard back after missing a few games with a sore thumb. And with Jamnov unable to go, Savard pressed into duty, though he's not at 100%. One more goal, and he'll tie the great Bobby Hull for the most number of goals ever in playoff competition as a Blackhawk.
Oh, he'd like nothing better than to do it against his former teammate, two future Hall of Famers, really, when you talk about Savard and Patrick Waugh.
Both of them looking for a good real estate agent to sell their homes in Montreal.
Early in the game, no score. We have 4 skaters aside at the moment as the draw is controlled by Gary Suter. Cleared it to Shantz, who got to the line, then was Pochek, and it rolled back to center ice. Daze flips it in there. Going back for it, here's a big hit on Shantz in the corner. Puck came loose to Scott Young, and Young works his way back to the Hawk line, trying to kick it ahead, but that rush broken up and cleared back into the Colorado zone.
Good hustle by Daze there to keep digging and hook the player and swat the puck. And the Hawks will be short-handed.
Now Chelios carries it to the Colorado line. A long wrist shot right on. Stand-up save. Waugh rebound. Chelios trying to kick it toward the net. He went crashing in there himself. But now the Avalanche come right back. Here's Forsberg over the line. Near side stick handling. Cuts in behind the goal. Another effort. Oh, it just rolled off the end of his stick. He looked like he beat Hackett to the far post, though. Colorado on the power play now. Here's a long drive from Lemieux. Big save by Hackett. And he holds on.
I saw a highlight film before the game on the big screen here, and that was a move Forsberg did with regularity last year. He circles in, looks like he's going to cut in, goes behind the net, draws the goalie to him, and goes around it and pulls it on the backhand and does the wraparound as well as anybody. And fortunately went off the end of his stick and he was unable to pull it after Chelios with a good rush up the ice. Let the shot go. Chelios has got a lot of energy. He's had Not a lot of work here the last little while. He missed 8 in a row, came back, played 8 games, and then missed the game with a bad back, played 1 game, and then sat out the final game of the year. 27 seconds left on a Montes penalty. Colorado third in penalty killing, third on the power play. 83 goals, 42 at home, 41 on the road.
Now the draw, bouncing to the line. Ozolinsh did well to keep it in, but then he's bumped by Craven, who jammed it loose. Back to the center ice area. Claude Lemieux rolled it to Ozolinsh for Kaminsky over the line, moving right to the net. He set it one open. Oh, Hackett! Oh, Jeff Hackett, a diving, spectacular save when Forsberg looked like he had the whole goal staring at him.
Well, Kaminsky's so dangerous, Pat. You worry about Forsberg and Sakic and Detmarsh, and sometimes you have a tendency to forget about Kaminsky. He is one of the best skilled players, makes the pass, and what a brilliant save by Hackett. Unbelievable save. He had a gaping net. I thought Forsberg was going to score. It was right in front of us, a perfect angle, and Hackett somehow was able to get the glove on it. Brilliant.
I can only recall in 17 years 2 times that I've ever said open net and the puck didn't go in, and Jeff Hackett both times was the man who made the save. One was on Nieuwendyk in Dallas, and that time right there, an unbelievable stop by Jeff Hackett. That's going to do him a world of good. Now give away to Shands, cutting to the net. He shoots. He was bothered by Clem, couldn't get much of the shot away. Meanwhile, the Hawk penalty is over in both teams. Back at full strength. Here comes Lemieux with a slap shot and a save by Hackett. Rebound to Carney. Up the left side. It missed Morrow, but then Shands carries on. Jeff Shands trying to fire along when that hit Kaminsky. Deflecting to the near side. Morrow rolled it in deep. Picked up by Forsberg for Colorado. Peter Forsberg able to battle his way to center and clear it into the Chicago zone. Now Steve Smith the other way. Sends it into the Colorado end of the ice. Miller in the near corner was unable to pick it up. And then the Avs have a bouncing puck, couldn't get it out. Here's Savard with a shot and a save by Waugh. And he hangs on. A quickly paced start to the...
Well, a great pace to the early stages. A brilliant save by Hackett. Some good shots by the Blackhawks. And the Hawks don't seem to be intimidated whatsoever. They seem to be there stride for stride up till now.
Now the draw taken by the Avs. Here comes Joe Sakic. Racing back over the Hawk line. Put it to Jones. Shooting and a glove save by Hackett. And he's going to hang on to it.
Well, Hackett obviously has got to be very confident now. Big question marks whether Hackett could handle the heat, being the #1 guy for the first time. And he has been outstanding. That save on Forsberg might be the save of the year.
Now with the Hawks coming out with the Sutter line with Probert and Cummins. Mark Crawford keeps Joe Sakic on the ice, but he brings a couple different wingers out.
His lines are never set in stone. He has so many options. So deep in the forward position.
Lacroix and Corbet are on the wings for Sakic now. Here's Ciccone in his own end. Gave it to Suter on the near side, ahead for Probert. He sends it into the Colorado zone. Waugh to the corner to play it up the boards and back to the Hawk line. Now Suter got it to Cummins and he sends it in. Lacroix took a big run and Cummins almost knocked him into the Colorado bench. Now a whistle on the play. Eric Lacroix has not scored a goal in his last 19 games, but he's one of the Colorado forwards they will look to be physical.
Well, they don't have a lot of physical players, and I noticed the last time in here, Pat, they tried to be more physical. The first game in here, the Blackhawks really dominated them with the physical play, and then Colorado came out and tried to match the Hawks. Hit were successful and ended up going on to win 2-1 in an outstanding hockey game that was scoreless halfway through the third period.
Here's the draw. Gusarov bounced one into the Chicago zone. It rolled to Hackett, who plays to Chelios. Now to Amani. He's well covered on the far side, but he managed to hang on to the puck. And now Krasov got it to Craven, who shoots it in. On the far board, Ricci took a bump from Krivo, couldn't get it out. Here's Krivo, top of the ring, shooting. Wow, what a great save with the right leg. He flashed out his right pad in the heartbeat to stop a good low shot from Krasov. Now Chelios had it knocked away at center. Here come the Avs, the centering pass. Yell with a shot and a save by Hackett. Rebound, they score! Mike Keane got to the rebound after Stefan Yell's first shot was stopped. And Colorado has the first goal of the game and the series.
Krasov with a good chance at the one end, but he allows Keane to poke that rebound in. He let up somewhat. Play at the just outside the line, broke it up. The Hawks would have had an odd man rush. Yell picked it up, and then Keane just nudged it past Krasov and Hackett, who made the first save. That play developed at the neutral zone. Good turnover and the counter play. The shot on goal and then the rebound. Keane beat Krasov to the punch. Ricci into the defenseman, I believe, who caught up with the play. Is that Ozelinch?
Stefan Yell was the guy who triggered the first shot. And Mike Keane starts the scoring in the game for Colorado. Yell and Ricci get the assists at 5:54. Now it's cleared into the Colorado zone. Morrow delivered a good hit to Lefebvre in the corner. Now back of the goal. Lefebvre able to come away with it. Or I should say, the Avalanche's Forsberg does roll it at Deadmarsh over the line in on Weinrich. He forced him to turn back to the board. Deadmarsh leaves it now along wrist shot and a save by Hackett with Kaminsky right there hoping for a loose puck, which never came.
Well, this is critical now. The Hawks just got to keep plugging away. They can't give another one right off the bat. They got to stay close to him as long as they can. This youngster really carried a lot of the weight this year when Forsberg and Sakic were out of the lineup. Deadmarsh with 33 goals and 60 points led the team in goal scoring, and he was their leader when they lost those players for a big stretch of the season. And without Sakic and Forsberg, this team believed in itself because they went 22-6-6 without them in the lineup. And that's always a good thing for a young team that relies on Sakic and Forsberg to carry them. All of a sudden they figured they can win without them, and that's made them even a better hockey club.
That really is amazing, isn't it? Two great stars like that. And they played 16 games over 500.
And they had a lot of guys out of the lineup for long stretches of the season. They had 5 or 6 guys at one stretch. And then they went on a long road trip without all those guys and won most of those games.
Well, that was in the middle of, there were 6 or 7 guys out of the lineup right around mid-season, and it was at that time that this club set a franchise record by going 12 games in a row undefeated. And they did that with many of their big guns not available.
And they had about 7 of those games were on the road. Here's a key now. They just can't, the Hawks have to just keep playing the way they've been playing. A big save at the one end by Waugh on Krasov, come right back. A turnover. The Hawks had a few guys in behind, and the pass was picked off by Yell, who's an outstanding defenseman, defensive forward, and he ends up making the play at the other end for an offensive goal.
Chris Chelios in his 158th career playoff game here tonight. Brent Sutter in his 143rd. And Sutter gets ready now with Sakic to the right of Hackett. Here's the draw. Into the far corner it goes. Sakic took a whack from Chelios but held on to it. Sakic to the far corner. Now came loose in front, and Sakic fired one up high. Rebound to Clem, but he couldn't hold it in under pressure from Probert. Stolen away to Cummins over the line. Cummins to the near corner, centered one. Probert stick tied up by Clem. And the Avalanche start back. Jones fires a long one. Hackett stops that, and it's poked back into the Colorado zone. 1-0 Avalanche here with 7 minutes gone by in the opening period. They're going to rule this icing against Chicago. And a little conversation after the whistle sounds, but no damage done. Colorado with a 1-0 lead. Back in a moment on the Chicago Blackhawk Network.
In his 100th playoff game, scores his 17th career goal, and that's the lone goal of the game at 5:54 from Yell and Ricci.
Here's the draw in the Hawk zone. A shot sails wide, and now Clem trying to hold it in, could not, as it bounces around along the near board. Well, Dowling battling with Scott Young. Then it came loose at center to Forsberg. He gets it back over the Hawk line. Stick handling beautifully centered. Young, and he shot it just wide. What a play. But how did he get that pass right on the money with two guys near him that he danced away from? What a magnificent play from Forsberg. Now back to center. Dowling had it knocked away. Here's Ozolin's countering in over the Hawk line. Weaves to the slot. Then shoot. Hackett with a right pad. Rebound taken by Savard. And he bounced one back to the center ice area. Ozolin was stopped, but it's carried on. Forsberg over the line, top of the ring, stopping, tried to center. Young hacked at it, couldn't connect. And we're going to have a penalty coming up here against Chicago.
8:03, and it looks like Ciccone's going to get the gate. And Colorado with a 1-0 lead goes to the power play for the second time. Didn't score on their first one. Talked about their power play. Third overall, 42 goals at home and 41 on the road. Hawk penalty killing. Hawks were shorthanded 70 more times than they had power plays. Colorado had 64 more power plays than times short. A difference of 134.
And the Avalanche with nearly 100 more power plays than the Hawks had during the regular season, 99 to be exact.
No, Ciccone just gloved him right in the face. That's definitely a penalty, and sure you want to be physical, but you got to play within the rules to beat this team.
Now the draw taken by Carney, who clears it back the other way. Ricci, Deadmarsh, and Jones are in front here for Colorado. Ozolinsh and Sakic are the point men. As Ozolinsh dumps one in behind the Hawk net. Chelios rolled it over to the far side. Craven hesitated before he went in there, and he couldn't get to it cleanly and clear it. As a result, now Ricci put it out to the line. Sakic, deep slot. Ozolinsh, good touch pass to Jones. Back to Sakic along wrist shot. Tip deflected wide. Aimed to the near board where Amani bears it back the other way. Ozolinsh got it over the line. Lemieux shoots. That didn't get through. Picked up by Smith. And a tough break for the Hawks. Smith, who had the puck, cleared the length, except he lifted it too high and it went into his own bench. Speaking of playoff veterans,
4 power play goals in the regular season and 17 chances. Lemieux has been outstanding in the playoffs. 57 goals, 104 points in 155 games.
Face-off right in the slot in front of Jeff Hackett. A minute to go in the Colorado power play. The Avalanche with a 1-0 lead. 11 minutes remaining in the first. Here's the draw to the near side, and Sakic. Joe Sakic chipped it in deep, then a centering attempt blocked by Hackett. Came to Sakic. He put it to Lemieux. A turnaround shot missed the net. Rebound, Ozolinsh chopped it through the goal mouth. It bounced to the near side. Claude Lemieux holding it in for Sakic near corner center. A shot, they score! Ozolinsh sneaking in for the point. Sakic found it with a pinpoint pass through a couple of bodies, and Ozolinsh finished with a power play goal. 2-0 Colorado.
Can't do it any better than that. That's a brilliant pass. Crisp and right on the money. Past the goaltender's stick, right through the crease, and Ozolinsh, the defenseman, who comes up with the play as well as anybody in the league these days. And we saw how brilliant he was last year in the playoffs against the Hawks. He buries it. Joe Sakic flying here in the early stages. and he makes a brilliant pass, and Ozolinsh didn't waste any time. He just released it before the puck was on his stick, it looked like. What a pass. 9:23, the time of the power play goal.
So it's 2-0 Avs, and here's the draw. And Krivo got a jolt from Yell along the boards, but he dumped one into the Colorado zone. Now on the far side, it's knocked away from Weinrich, back to center ice. Taken by Steve Smith. His pass didn't connect. Now it's center ice, the Avs. Keane dumping it in. Knocked down by Craven in the process. And here's Kriva-Krasov. Clearing ahead for Amani, and it just rolled away from him into the Colorado zone. Adam Foote on the near side. Couldn't get it out. Morrow, a weak wrist shot handled easily by Waugh, and he'll hang on to it.
Well, not the start that you would have liked. You'd like to have gotten through this first period scoreless or down a goal. The Hawks with to really pick it up a notch here in the last half of the period, down 2-0.
That Ozolinsh goal from Sakic on the power play. The other assist given to Claude Lemieux at 9:23. And halfway through the first period, Colorado with a 2-0 lead.
23 goals for Ozolinsh in the regular season, and he scored a big goal in the 6th game of last year's playoffs, the winning goal. Boy, you put all your energies into stopping Sakic and Kaminsky and Forsberg, and all of a sudden you collapse, overplay him, and bang, out of nowhere comes Ozolinsh. 68 points, led all NHL defensemen in goals with 23. That was a great deal they made. They got rid of a great player, Owen Nolan, but they got a different dimension, something they were lacking in that offensive weapon from the blue line.
And what did we say about playing physically but intelligently? That comes back to haunt the Hawks. A bad penalty leads to a power play goal for the Avs, and it doubles their lead. Here's Chelios at the far point along. Wrist shot. Wow, good save through traffic. And the rebound controlled by Young. Clearing it out to center. Forsberg in over the Hawk line. Center one. Young had his stick ready to let one go, but the pass out of his reach. Now Young, a shot. Little save by Hackett. He's not sure where it was, but it dribbled just outside the far post. Here's Forsberg out of the corner with it. Walking into the deep slot. Forsberg rolled it over to the far side. Chelios able to pick it up. Gave it to Morrow. Forsberg with a stand-up hit. Knocked him off the puck at center. Hawks then flip it in now. Forsberg got hit by Probert from behind as well as Morrow. Here's Ciccone coming out of the penalty box to deliver a shot to somebody. And a big gathering in front of the bench areas. Ciccone's penalty had expired. I didn't mean to indicate that he left the box. And now a lot of conversation, it appears.
Well, Forsberg with a good hit on Morrow, then collided with Chelios, and then Probert came on off the bench, and this mess ensues.
Nothing wrong with that hit. A great hit by Forsberg.
Got him with his head down.
So we're going to have some penalties coming up here, and so far so good for the defending champions. They lead the Hawks 2-0 on the Chicago Blackhawks.
Up with him, he's a good physical player. He got Morrow with a shoulder to the chest, and then Chelios gave him a shot. Then Morrow gave him a shot, and then Probert coming on a change gave one of the players a shot, Corbet, then Forsberg a whack, and so Young and Probert and Morrow is in the box, and we talked about composure and taking bad penalties, and the Hawks take 2 in a row, and Colorado gets its 3rd straight power play. You've got to take a hit like that. That was a good hit.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that Forsberg hit. He caught him with his head down. Bottom line, shoulder to chest. The Hawks took exception to it, retaliated, and it's going to cost them a power play. Down 2-0. Chicago averaged 21.5 minutes per game, which is an improvement. They led the league for most of it. San Jose, no surprise, finished with the worst in Buffalo. Finished at 22.4 per game.
So the face-off will be to the left of Patrick Roy as the Avalanche crank up their second power play chance of the game. Here's the draw. Won by Craven, and Chelios will waste a little time back into his own end. Give it to Carney, who clears. Now Ozolinsh cleared it over the Hawk line. Jones rolled it far corner to Deadmarsh. He rings it around the boards. Now came back to the far side. Chelios with time and room, and he clears it the length.
Colorado's already had 12 shots on goal. The Blackhawks have had 7.
As Sakic would have passed to the feet of Ricci. It bounced away to Carney. Gave it to Chelios, who fires it back to the other end. Now Miller delivered a hit, jamming it loose to Sutter. Fires right on, and a save by Roy. Good play by Miller, allowing Sutter a chance, but Patrick Roy said no. Now Kaminsky back over the Hawk line. Center one, Hackett picked it off with a glove. He'll hang on to it.
Patrick Roy made a couple of key saves, one on Krivo Krasov, a couple on Chelios, and that last one on Brent Sutter. And that's what's so frustrating. You finally get some chances, and bang, Patrick Roy looks unbeatable in the net early, and it frustrates you. They come back and get a second chance and score themselves. Good play by Miller. Nice touch pass to strip it and get it to Brent Sutter. And Sutter got all of it, but chest-high shot. And Roy, he goes to his knees in that butterfly style, but his body's always up, and he's always covering a lot more of the net than most goalies that do it.
Face off to the right of Hackett. A minute to go in the Avalanche power play. Here's Ozolinsh. Far side to Kaminsky. He spins but lost it, and Chance clears. Now Ozolinsh coughed it up to Amani, feeding Weinrich. His wrist shot didn't get through. And Forsberg sends Lemieux over the Hawk line, trying to dance away from Suter. He did. Now turn, shoots. Hackett got a piece with a left arm. Rebound to the far side. Now Forsberg slipped it to the deep slot. Sakic for Ozolinsh. Back to Sakic. Feeding Forsberg. Shooting. He scored. Might have been tipped in. Kaminsky and Lemieux were both there. Brilliant passing by the Avalanche on their power play. 2 bad penalties by the Hawks. 2 power play goals for the Avalanche. It's 3-0 Colorado.
And look out. They're playing with a lot of intensity. They're flying. They're moving the puck with confidence. Ozolinsh from the point makes a back pass to the back to the point. The fake shot and the quick release with a man in front of Hackett outside the crease, and Forsberg from Sakic. And 2 goals scored. Neither player that shot the puck and scored had it on his stick for more than a split second. Bang. Ozolinsh from Sakic, Forsberg from Sakic, and Ozolinsh. And
now they're on the phone here, Dale, just to check, I guess, about whether a man was in the crease.
There's a man in the area.
Was close to it, but it's a short conversation, and it's a 3-0 game.
He had his foot in the crease and then moved out of the crease. Good play on his part. He screened Hackett as well, and a quick release, and Hackett didn't have a chance. He's in the crease and then moves his foot out of the crease. And it almost touched him, and it just snuck in past Hackett's blocker to the near far post, I should say.
So the Avalanche with a 3-0 lead here, and still 7 minutes to go in the first period as Eric Lacroix cleared it to center ice. Now over the Hawk line, Sakic, a wrist shot hit Ciccone, bouncing free behind the net, and Clem rolled it loose, but the Hawks able to pick it up, and Savard puts it over the Colorado line. Miller center one, and Dahlen was busting the net, but the puck jumped up over his stick. As the Avs clear it back to the Hawk line, Ciccone lost it to Sakic into the Chicago zone. Sends it in deep. Lacroix along the inboard. Put it in front. And it deflected right through the goal crease. And the Hawks able to clear it to center ice. Savard gets to the line, and he was stopped there. Now back of the goal it goes. Amani fought off a hit, but then Foot managed to take it away. And clear it over to the far side where Gusarov tipped it to center, and Ricci dumps it in.
They gave that goal to Kaminsky, but he never touched that puck. That's Sakic's or Forsberg's goal, it should be.
At the moment, the assists go to Sakic and Forsberg on the Kaminsky tally at 12:48 on the power play for Colorado. And here come the Avs again. Keane over the line, left it for a yell. He turns, tried to center, it didn't connect. It went to Foot instead, who shoots, and a save by Hackett with a right pad. Hawks a chance to counter if they hurry. And Krivo's pass deflected away from Amani on a good read by Gusarov. Puck cleared back into the Hawk zone. A big struggle going on along the far side between Gusarov and Amani. That's allowed to go without a whistle. And here comes Jeff Shantz over the Avalanche line. As he was ready to pull the trigger, he lost his balance under pressure. Now here's a wraparound and a poke check by Waugh to stop the attempt from Morrow before he ever really got it underway. Out of the near side, the Avalanche has Kaminsky clearing it out to center. Forsberg forced to turn as Deadmarsh would have been offside. Now the puck dumped into the Hawk zone. Here's Weinrich clearing it into Colorado territory. Lefebvre put it around the boards, and it winds up back at center ice. Ulf Dahlen scooped it to the Colorado line. Aaron Miller has it there for the Avalanche. And then it's cleared to center where Keith Kearney moved it ahead to Dahlen. He chipped it in hoping for Sutter, but Lemieux's going to get there first. Claude Lemieux rolled it over to the far side, stolen by Dahlen with a wrist shot and a save by Waugh. And he made it look easy. 4 minutes remaining in the opening period. Colorado.
Well, they ruled that Kaminsky deflected that Forsberg shot. In the replay that we saw, he never touched it. He was responsible in a big part for the goal. He had his foot in the crease. He backed away as the shot from Forsberg came. Well, he might have gotten a piece of it, hard to say from that angle, but regardless, it's a goal. Doesn't matter who scores them.
And he lit up the Hawks in last spring's series. 6 goals in 6 games he scored against Chicago in the playoffs last year, and he started out this series in the same fashion. Here's the draw, controlled by the Hawks. Savard to Amani, trying to feed Craven, but the pass was at his feet. Kearney is hounded by Keane. Savard got back there to help out. And the Hawks try to regroup in their own zone. Here comes Steve Smith. Clearing to Craven, who tapped it in. Lefebvre put it to the right side. Young gets help from Forsberg, who chipped it neatly to center. Scott Young dumping it into the Chicago zone. Chelios dumps it out, and Shantz put it into the Colorado into the ice. On the near side, it's held in by the Hawks, but then picked up by Miller for Colorado. He cleared it to center. Now Shantz able to pick it up. Trying to feed Daze, but missed him. Now Morrow. That is pass broken up. And Young got it over the Hawk line to Jones near side. Rolled it into the near corner. Forsberg and Shantz collide there. Jeff Shantz came away with a puck and flipped it to the Colorado line. Here's Keith Jones. He bounced one ahead. Lemieux rings it around the board. Taken by Probert on the near side with 2.5 left in the opening period. And it's a 3-0 Colorado lead. It's cleared back of the Avalanche goal. Waugh rings it around the boards. Held into Probert. A turnaround shot is blocked in front of the net by Clem. And John Clem starts it away to Ozelich. A long feed as Sakic was busting, but he's in there ahead of the play. And the whistle sounds. And well, the heat is on. And they have given the third goal to Peter Forsberg. So the goal reads Forsberg from Sakic and Ozelich at 12:48 of the first period.
Three straight power plays after an early 1-0 lead on Keane's goal, and the Hawks in a big hole against a team that is just flying. 15 shots on goal.
Well, there's some folks around here, Dale, maybe a little bit concerned because Colorado did not finish the regular season in fine fashion. They played 500, 8-8-1 their last 17 games. I think those folks have had their worries eased here a little bit.
Really, and I think they rested a lot of guys in that stretch, too. A lot of guys ran out of the lineup. And, you know, they were in a different position. They had to play out solidly in position, and they are also in good shape for first overall until they slumped somewhat and then had to win a big game in Dallas.
Now the puck bouncing around in the Hog zone. Craven able to come up with it. Cleared it to Suter, to Craven over the line. Craven kicks to the stick, turns to the near side, drops it to Weinrich, a long shot, deflecting wide. Now back of the goal it goes, and Ozelich, I should say Gusarov brings it around the boards. And it came loose to Gusarov. He lost it to Amani, near side to Weinrich. His long shot hit somebody in front to Forsberg. And Peter Forsberg cleared it to center. Kaminsky 3-on-2 over the Hawk line. Left it for Denmark. Put it in front. Forsberg, he scored! Two Hawk forwards got caught behind the Colorado goal, and the Avalanche not only had a 3-on-2, they had it for several extra seconds in the Hawk zone. Nobody able to get back. Forsberg with his second goal. It's 4-0 Avs.
They took their time in that 3-on-2 rush. Kaminsky gave across the line from the left, back to the right. He cut across. They took their time. They weren't going at full speed. He slipped it back to Young. Young to Forsberg. Forsberg, what a great shot. Backhand flip up over the crossbar. 4-0 Avalanche. All three Hawk forwards in deep and couldn't get back.
So Peter Forsberg with his second goal of the game. And Adam Denmark and Valerie Kaminsky get the assists at the 19-minute mark of the opening period. And now an icing call has been made against Colorado. Game 2 in 2 nights from now, Friday night. The Blackhawks and the Avalanche will go at it again. Same start time. Back in Chicago, 7 o'clock with the pregame shows on MVP and Sports Channel, 7:30 with the puck drop from here in McNichols Arena. Then Game 3 on Sunday afternoon, a 1 o'clock start in the United Center. But the Blackhawks in a world of trouble right now in the opener of this series. They've been outshot 16-10, but outscored 4-0 with half a minute left in the first period. Now it's deep in the Hog zone. They battle along the near side, and now it squirts free back into the Colorado end. Gusarov back for it. Poked it up the boards. Ricci cleared it to Keane. He couldn't hang on to it. And Carney has control, but not enough time to make anything happen. The first period comes to an end. And listen to the crowd in Denver. They're loving the way their home team has started defense of their title. Colorado scored at the 5:54 mark when Mike Keane got a score from Yell and Ricci to open it up for Colorado, and then two bad Hawk penalties leading to two power play goals. Ozolinsh from Sakic and Lemieux at 9:23, and a brilliant pass from Joe Sakic. And then Forsberg on an equally neat passing play on a power play. Forsberg from Sakic and Ozolinsh at 12:48, and then Forsberg on a 3-on-2, assisted by Kaminsky and Deadmarsh at the 19-minute mark. 16-10, Colorado out shooting Chicago. This team's tough enough to beat if you don't give power plays.
Well, regardless of the power plays, it's just we're dominant. Just brilliant passing, playing with a lot of confidence and a lot of legs. Speed kills, and they've got a lot to spare, and that's a big difference in the two hockey clubs, and it was evident in that first period.
20 minutes complete in game one. It's Colorado 4, Chicago nothing. On the Hawk Network.
Wow, that's about all you can say. The Avalanche showed why in the first period that they are the defending Stanley Cup champions. And Murray, we talked in the pregame show about Joe Sakic and the post-Conn Smythe slump. Reports of his death were greatly exaggerated, it appears.
Yes, they were, and Sakic did tonight what he's done for a better part of his career. He makes great passes. He made two good passes which led to goals. The one he put past two Hawks players and the goaltender to get it to Ozolinsh to put it in an open net. Sakic's ready to play, and the one thing that we knew had to happen for the Hawks to be successful is Colorado not be ready. Well, that didn't happen.
Well, they're ready, and then as Dale mentioned, you just can't give this team power plays. The Blackhawks did, and Colorado was able to cash in. Jeff Hackett having a busy night, faced 16 shots on goal in the opening period of play. Early on, he turned in tonight's Gillette instant replay.
Claude Lemieux rolled it to Ozolinsh for Kaminsky over the line, moving right to the net. He sent it one open net. Oh, Hackett! Oh, Jeff Hackett, a diving, spectacular save when Forsberg looked like he had the whole goal staring at him.
Well, Kaminsky's so dangerous.
We're at the first intermission of Game 1 in the Western Conference quarterfinals. After one period of play, the Avalanche hold a 4-0 lead. Back with more in a flash. Payback, playback.
Carl gives it and takes it back from Talon, the backhander stop. Talon scores for the Hawks! Dale Talon, the former Vancouver Canuck, puts it away on the rebound. Hawks lead it 2-0. A very, very happy Dale Talon, set up by his line mates Carl and Darcy Rhoda, connects for the Hawks, and the Hawks lead it 2-0 as Dale Talon has just collected his third goal of the season.
Didn't sound like the crowd in Vancouver was too happy about then, were they? Other playoff action tonight. They are just about ready to go to the second intermission in Detroit as St. Louis and Detroit play Game 1 of their Western Conference quarterfinal series. And St. Louis has had the better part of the action. Al McGinnis from the point, redirected by Pierre Turgeon. Blues lead at 2-0 mid-second. St. Louis a 5-on-3, two-man advantage. Brett Hull from the point is stopped by Mike Vernon. Pronger with a chance at the rebound, but Mike Vernon able to cover that up as he does the snow angel on the ice. Nicholas Lidstrom standing over the puck as well. As I mentioned, they're getting toward the end of the second period, and now the second period is over. St. Louis leads that game 2-0 over Detroit as they get ready to go to the third period. Meanwhile, a shootout going on in Big D. 2-2 as they start the second period. Edmonton and Dallas. Marchand and Buckberger score for Edmonton. Nieuwendyk and Lettinen get the goals for Dallas. And coming up in about an hour, they'll drop the puck in Anaheim for the first ever playoff game at the Arrowhead Pond as the Phoenix Coyotes take on the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim. When we come back, we'll take a look at an awesome display by the Colorado Avalanche in the opening period. Avalanche lead it over the Hawks 4-0 at the end of one. Blackhawks have won 40 series in the Stanley Cup playoffs, lost 48. That is tonight's Payne Weber stat. Time now to look at the first period highlights. Highlights from the Avalanche point of view because they put on a clinic in the opening period of play. Everything looked good for the Blackhawks for a while in this one. Then here come the Avalanche. Mike Keane picks up the rebound and puts it into the net, making it 1-0 in favor of Colorado. Here is a great play, Murray. Joe Sakic with an outstanding pass out of the corner.
It's a great pass, and you'll notice the Hawks guy standing in front of the crease there. He comes in too far into the zone, which allows that defenseman to come in and get that pass from Sakic.
And look at the way the Avalanche moved the puck on their third goal. Ozolinsh drops it back. Joe Sakic puts it over to Forsberg. Kaminsky standing on the doorstep. Remember, this goal has been changed. It's been credited to Peter Forsberg. It turns out to be what is his first goal of the playoffs. He would later add another one, 4-0 in favor of the Avalanche at the end of one period of play. When we come back, we'll get you ready for the second period. The Blackhawks down by 4 as they get ready to go to the second period in Game 1 of the Western Conference quarterfinals. Second period of play upcoming. Murray, what the Blackhawks have to do is just play for the next goal and not look any farther than that.
Well, they're going to have to forget that the score is 4-0. They're just going to have to keep plugging away and hope they get some breaks and get some goals and get back into it. And barring that, I really believe they need to get a little more physical and at least send a message out there that, hey, it's going to be a rough series one way or the other. And by that, I don't mean take penalties, the dumb penalties. I mean just be physical and hammer them all over the ice.
Murray and I will see you after the second period. Pat and Dale come back right on the other side of this timeout.
With a commanding 4-goal explosion in the first period. The Sports Channel report is Chicago's championship headquarters, bringing you the most comprehensive playoff coverage in the city, from first round to finals. The playoffs are here on the Sports Channel report, Chicago's championship headquarters. Well, the Hawks need to find a way to stay out of the box, keep the puck out of the net here in this second period. 10 minutes and 4 seconds Chris Chelios played in the first. And I'll tell you one thing, Sakic and Forsberg were on the ice probably every other shift.
Yeah.
At least one of them was on the ice. Ricci played a little bit, but they certainly had Sakic and Forsberg on the ice as much as possible. And both of them with a pair of points. 2 assists for Sakic, a goal and assist for Forsberg. Patrick Waugh had 3 or 4 tough saves. Jeff Hackett, on the other hand, had a bunch of tough chances. 2 goals, I should say, for Forsberg. They gave that one we thought that was his goal to Kaminsky earlier, but now Forsberg with a pair of goals. So 4 points for the 2 stars of the Avalanche.
Jeff Hackett will be down to our left here for the Hawks in period 2, and Patrick Waugh to our right for Colorado. As Sutter and Sakic will get the second period underway. The draw is controlled by the Hawks. Kearney in his own end. Just chips it to center. John Clem cleared it to Sakic over the Hawk line. Lets it go, and he's shot it wide. Rebound deflecting to the near corner, and Chris Chelios sends it up the boards. Not out. Kearney picked it up, and he got it into the center ice area. Now taken by Brent Sutter. Bounced it ahead. Cummins over the line. Tried to leave it for Probert. Pulled away from one check. Then the puck squirts away from it. Back of the goal goes Cummins. Cummins had his pass deflect to the near corner. Probert on it. Leaves it there. Now Cummins wrestled it loose to Sutter. Tried to shoot, but had his stick tied up brilliantly by Joe Sakic. Now a long shot deflected and then hit a Colorado player, Clem, who's on the deck. And the whistle sounds.
I think Waugh might have made the first save, and then the puck came back, and then Probert tried to jam it loose. And this is a youngster that's really come on and played extremely well. Defensive position, Clem, with a good shot block on that first tip, and then freezes it, not allowing Probert to get it through him and onto Patrick Waugh.
Well, you were right when you were wrong. Remember, he said Forsberg had a goal and an assist.
My score sheet's a mess.
Well, now he's got it again because they just took away his first goal, which had been changed from Kaminsky to Forsberg. They've changed it back to Kaminsky. This was at the 12:48 mark of the first period. A power play goal for Colorado. Kaminsky now from Forsberg and Sakic is the way it reads for now after being changed twice. Face-off will be to the right of Waugh. Between Murray Craven and Mike Ricci, and the draw gotten to Smith, top of the ring, tees it up, shoots, and a save by Waugh. Rebound, kick loose to the near side. Now Weinrich at the line. Cleared it ahead, Ricci picked it off, got it to center and Keane. Mike Keane to Yell, dumping it in. Jeff Hackett got tied up by Keane back of the net, who steals and centers, but that didn't connect. And Amani feeds Crevo racing up the right side over the line, shooting, blocker saved by Waugh, rebound, and Craven couldn't get any wood on it. That was Smith rather, and now the puck corralled by the Avalanche. They clear it back into the Chicago zone, and it's going to be an icing call against the home team.
Good shoulder save there by Patrick Waugh. A good burst of speed by Krivo Krasov. Tried to go high to the stick side, and Waugh just got a piece of it with the right arm, right shoulder, and deflected a wide second quality chance of the game for Krivo. His best chance was in the first period when Waugh flashed out the right leg, and then the counter play. Keane scored, and that opened the floodgates as far as Colorado's concerned, with 2 power play goals and a goal at the 19-minute mark to give them a 4-goal lead into the second.
86 career postseason victories for St. Patrick. 2 more, he'll tie the record of Billy Smith. And here's the draw now. Cleared to center ice. Chance knocked his man off the puck, got it to Daze, then Sakic stole it right back. Steps over the Hawk liner, big shot right on, and a save by Hackett. Rebound Sakic. Oh, Hackett, a fine save. On the backhand rebound, shot from Joe Sakic.
Well, Sakic's got a great shot, a great wrist shot. Got graphite composite type sticks, and he can really let it go. And he's got 2 assists and very nearly got a 3rd point. Quick release. Hackett, good save, low to the glove side, and then Sakic tied up, still got a rebound, backhand shot, and Hackett overworked here. 18 shots already. Meanwhile, Eric Daze going to the locker room for an equipment problem. Troy Parchment probably escaped, probably stripped an edge.
St. Louis has taken a 2-0 lead into the 3rd period in Detroit. In their opener, Edmonton and Dallas are tied at 2 in the 2nd period of their game. Phoenix and Anaheim start later. Here the Hawks are trailing 4-0 early in the 2nd period as Carney fires it up over the glass and into the crowd. And a packed house once again here in McNichols Arena. 86, I think it is, straight sellouts during regular season play. And this arena just 25 years old, and they are desperately in need of a new one. This franchise has been, they lost money last year when they won the cup. They're going to lose more money this season. And an arena that's just 25 years old is already well out of date.
And the payroll of $27.5 million. And it's going to get higher.
Here's the draw, cleared ahead, Probert over the line, but offside is the call. And Patrick Waugh won't even let meaningless shots go in. After that whistle sounded, Probert just casually rolled it gently toward the goal, and Waugh made sure that he got his stick in the way of it. He wasn't going to let even a meaningless puck go in the net.
137 playoff appearances for Patrick Waugh. 3 Stanley Cups and a couple of Conn Smythe awards as well.
Here's the draw now to Joe Sakic, sending it into the Chicago zone. Chelios gave it to Carney on the far side, and he hoists one out to center. And it bounces around into the Colorado end, taken by Clem. John Clem scooped it to the Chicago line. Chelios had it knocked away, but the Avalanche are then in offside. And they're going to rule this an intentional offside and move the draw all the way back into the Colorado zone.
Mark Crawford, another outstanding job behind the bench, winning the President's Trophy. Strong candidate for Coach of the Year once again, Pat. Everybody talked about Hitchcock. I think Hitchcock's a shoe-in. I think he'll win. But Jacques Martin with Ottawa doing an outstanding job. Former assistant here. Former assistant with the Blackhawks. And Ted Nolan with Buffalo. Probably finished 1, 2, 3 or in that order. I think Crawford is right there as well. He could have been nominated to take this team and win with it. When they're expected to win, I think that's tougher to coach a team that's supposed to win and win with them than taking a team that is not expected to win and win with.
Now bouncing puck, Craven couldn't quite pick it up. Forsberg did. Peter Forsberg comes racing back over the hog line, weaves to the deep slot, stick handling now shooting, and Weinrich managed to block it. Now at the side of the net, Hackett will cover it up. We are early in the second period of the playoff opener between the Hawks.
Well, that last 3-on-2 pass, the first thing that Forsberg hasn't done right. A weak shot away that was deflected. He's been on fire here in the early going. He and Sakic both.
As it's cleared to center, Miller puts Savard over the line, weaves to the slot. Savard now walks right in there, shooting. Missed the net. We're going to have a Colorado penalty coming up, and now the whistle sounds. Glorious chance for Dennis Savard. It seemed as if he might have been even surprised at how people sort of peeled away from him, and from point-blank range, his right hand, the power hand, not at 100%, and he just shot it well outside the post.
Well, he put the one defender down, drifted away. Miller went wide, and he tried to go high to the glove side and had to go off the end of the stick and wide. Meanwhile, a power play, though. And the Hawks with a glimmer of hope with their second power play. Their first one, they did not score on it, but it was cut short by an interference penalty on Amante. And then Colorado with 3 straight power plays and scored on 2 of them. I think they've changed it back to Forsberg now.
Now they changed. They did. They changed it again. Here's Chelios, a long shot, gloved by Waugh, and he holds on.
Well, let's hope the Blackhawks get a goal that has to be changed a couple of times. Regardless, it's 4-0 Colorado, and the Hawks with their second power play and need to score on it.
Daze, Shantz, and Amante in front of Suter and Chelios. Here's the draw. Amante with a long slap shot. Wow, with a left pad. Rebound to the near side. Yell had it, unable to corral it though, and Chelios up the near board to Amante. Back to the line, Suter. Gave it to Shantz, far circle. He shoots one and missed the net. Rebound, Chelios near point. Chris Chelios to the deep slot. Tees it up now, shooting, and a save by Waugh. Then it was chipped wide by Shantz. Rebound to the Avs, and they clear. Now Chelios for Suter. In over the Colorado line, chipped it in deep. Miller chasing it down to the near board for Amante. He put it to Chelios, who shot it back around the boards. Back of the goal, Morrow to Amante near corner. Tony Amante hangs on. Morrow trying to battle in front of the net. A shot hit him though. Deflects in the slot. The Avalanche are there. Clem couldn't get it out. Far side to Miller. Back to the boards he goes. Kevin Miller hanging on. Now Miller to the top of the ring. Shoots one. It's blocked by Foot, or I should say Miller. Now a long shot from Suter deflects wide. And Aaron Miller fought off a check to clear it. One more rush on this Hawk power play. Gary Suter got it to Eric Weinrich. Sends it back to the Colorado goal. Adam Foot put it to the near side. And Mike Keane clears it the length of the ice. That takes care of the Colorado penalty now. Both teams are at full strength. Here's Sakic stealing one, stepping over the line near side. Sakic tried to center it, hit a skate, and it's captured by Cummins. Tim Cummins stood up by Deadmarsh, who steals, and then a long shot stopped by Hackett. Rebound cleared to center. And the Hawks send it into the Colorado zone. Here's Clem back of the net. To Ozolinch, who goes rink wide to Sakic. Joe Sakic on the right side, in over the Hawk line on Ciccone, shooting. He shot it wide to the near post, and it bounced all the way back into Colorado ice. Sandis Ozolinch able to clear it ahead. Ciccone broke it up to Chelios. Put it back of the Colorado net. Now Keith Jones battles along the near side, but it's held in by Dahlen. Ulf Dahlen in behind to Smart, centered, and Miller knocked down as he was ready to shoot it. Good defensive play by the Avs, and Scott Young clears it back the other way. Dahlen got it to Miller on the right side. Got to the line, then Lefebvre got to him. Now Ciccone chases in deep for it. But Sylvain Lefebvre able to maintain control and hoist one back into the Chicago end. And it's going to be an icing call against Colorado. 13 minutes remaining now in the second period. Colorado with a 4-0 lead on the Chicago Blackhawk Network.
Peter Forsberg last year in the playoffs, Pat. Only 10 goals and 11 assists, 21 points. That pales in comparison to what Sakic did. Sakic had 34 points.
On his way to the MVP award, the Conn Smythe Trophy for postseason brilliance. Here's Deadmarsh clearing it out to center. Kaminsky got to the Hawk line, had it knocked away there, and Amati feeds ahead for Weinrich, but it sailed up over his stick. Krasov picked it up, then he was checked, held into Amati, a long shot, sails up high and wide. Rebound in behind the goal, Krasov. Wrapped up by Kaminsky, now Craven works against Gusarov, and it's cleared around to the far side where Deadmarsh safely chopped it back the other way. It's going to be icing against Colorado.
Tune in to AM 1000 weekdays from 2 to 6. It's Steve Cochran. He helps you with your drive home. And you're home for sports and entertainment, AM 1000.
Face-off will be to the right of Patrick Waugh. As the Chance line on for Chicago against the Ricci line for Colorado. Yell and Keane are out there with Mike Ricci. And here's the draw, cleared back into the Chicago zone. Keith Carney poked it to the near side. Daze pushed it to center. Carney got to it there, feeding Daze on right wing over the line. His drop pass picked off and shot back to the center ice area. Jeff Chance and his speed deflect. Now bouncing around to Chelios in his own end. Gave it to Carney, whose feed eludes Chance, sliding back into the Colorado zone. Daze racing in there, poked it back to the net. Morrow. Lefebvre trying to cover him. Ethan Morrow battles to the slot. A backhander is blocked. We're going to have an Avalanche penalty. Here's Chelios at the near point, a long shot into the glove of Waugh. And he hangs on, but the Hawks will now head to the power play.
Good effort, good rush up the ice by Daze to keep that play alive. And then Ethan Morrow from the far corner pulled it to the backhand and was hooked in the process. And Lefebvre goes to the box. And the Hawks with their third power play, trailing 4-0, second power play of the second period. And hustle by Daze, then good work by Ethan Morrow, pulling himself to the slot and then hooked to the ice. And his backhand shot never got through, and then Chelios didn't get it through on the delayed penalty. But Waugh saw it all the way and made it look easy. 9:49 the time of the penalty. 4-0 Avalanche. 4 goals here in the first period. Keane, Ozolinch, and Forsberg with a pair.
Yes, they are saying that they changed that goal back again. The power play goal that was scored at 12:48 of the first. So we've had it told to us twice for Kaminsky and twice for Forsberg. But the way it stands now, Forsberg got the goal from Sakic and Ozolinsh at 12:48 of the first on a power play for Colorado. And the Hawks with the extra man advantage now, as Miller opens up with Amani and Craven on this Hawk power play. Chelios and Suter again man the points. Chris Chelios sends Suter to center. Goes rink wide for Amani. Deep into the Colorado zone, Amani to the far point for Suter. His pass picked off by Joe Sakic, who clears. Amani quickly back to the Colorado line. Weaves centered. Craven seemed as if the pass was right there, but he's unable to hang on to it. And Gusarov turns and fires it around the boards. And it hopped away from Chelios. Here's a 2-on-1. Deadmarsh in over the line. Cuts to the net. Stick handle. Center one. A shot. Hackett diving to his left. Now the rebound. And it was shot off the side of the net, I believe, by Deadmarsh, who shoots again. And he shot this one wide. Feed Chelios. That's stripped away. Keane back over the Hawk line. That had knocked off his stick to Ethan Morrow at center ice. Morrow sending it in, chasing to the far corner. Out of the line. It hopped away from Suter back to the center ice area. And there's half a minute to go on this Chicago power play as Weinrich feeds Suter over the line, left it for Morrow. He had it knocked away, and then a lead pass just out of the reach of Corbett. He had a breakaway. Now Hackett gave it to him. Corbett right in, shoots. Hackett a diving save, and Suter then will get a penalty. Wow, Jeff Hackett just threw the puck away and had to bail himself out with a magnificent save, but he's down on his knees and very upset with the developments.
So what? I mean, it's not his fault. He gave it away, but where were the hockey fans? Both of them are inside the line. It was a puck that he had to get to as no one was back to protect him. He has been left alone for most of this game. He went to try and go against the flow instead of pulling it to the near side, and it went off the end of his stick, and he made a nice recovery and a save on Corbett. And Gary Suter getting there quite late, hammered him from behind, and now Colorado goes to the power play. Colorado had better chances while shorthanded than the Hawks had with a man advantage. Not a shot on goal for the Blackhawks in a minute 42 of power play time. So they're 0 for 3, and now Colorado 2 for 3 will get their fourth chance in 18 seconds. Problem along the end boards just to the right of Hackett. And Hackett on that last power play in a couple shorthanded situations went from post to post about 3 different times. And dangerous situations developing with Deadmarsh and Forsberg. And he is trying to get his breath here and get a second win.
Off will be to the right of Hackett. Here's the draw. Taken by Eric Weinrich. Weinrich sending Sutter to center ice. Crisscrossing to the Colorado line. A wrist shot hit a leg, deflecting wide. And now the Colorado penalty is over, and both, or I should say the Avs, head to the power play. Ricci. That is pass deflect. Now Ozolinsh got away from Sutter, steps over the line, cuts in there, shoots. He shot it up high and wide. Rebound held in by Sakic. Centering Ozolinsh. Put it in front. Oh, a little too hot to handle for Young, who was on the doorstep. Now Scott Young in the far corner for Ricci in deep. Center on a shot. Hackett, big save. As Jones, coming on a change, managed to walk right to the doorstep. Now Ozolin's dumping it in there. To the far side, Jones delivered a hit, jammed it loose in the corner. Smith, though, put it to the near side.
Oh, what's that?
And Ozolin's just knocked Damani down to keep it in. Ozolin's threw it back of the Hawk net. Chelios there. He's got time. Cleared it to center. Craven over the Colorado line. Had it stripped away. 45 seconds left in the Colorado power play. Ozolin's sends a lead. It's picked off by Smith. He got it to Chelios, who clears it back the other way. One more rush on the Colorado power play. There's Peter Forsberg. Cleared it over the Hawk line. Claude Lemieux trying to center. One came through to the near side. Forsberg got it loose to Kaminsky. Stick handles in front. Mishandled it at the last second. And a diving Hackett able to cover it up.
Well, Steve Smith just got away with one. He whacked Kaminsky in the back up against the post. Then Kaminsky faked like he was going to hit him one. And then Smith gave him a shot with a glove, and no penalties called. There's always someone moving on that power play. Kaminsky in close was hammered by Smith. Smith's lucky he didn't get penalized there. Kaminsky faked the right, and Smith gave him a face full of glove after the fact. 132 career playoff games for Steve Smith. 3 Stanley Cup championships with Edmonton. Well, he's really played well considering the amount of time he's missed the last couple of years.
Face off to the left to Jeff Hackett. And the draw to the Avalanche. The fave at the near point, a long wrist shot. Hackett fought it off, gave a rebound, but only for a second. He covered before Lacroix could get to it.
And with that face-off, Suter's able to get back to the ice, and Hawks kill off a power play for only the second time in 4 chances.
7.5 remaining in the second. It's 4-0 Colorado on the Blackhawk Network. Foley and Dale Talon back in the Mile High City, 5,280 feet above sea level, they say we are. And the Avs are flying at least that high. They own a 4-0 lead over the Blackhawks, just past the halfway point of the second period.
We're about 5,480 feet up.
Here's the draw. To the far side, held in by Lacroix. Sending it around the boards. And Dowling able to chip it back the other way, but it's going to be an icing call against Chicago.
St. Louis still leading Detroit 2-0 in the third. Edmonton and Dallas tied up at 2 apiece in the third. And here, with 7:11 to go in the second period, it's 4-0 Colorado. Most scoring here in the second. Hawks with a couple of power plays that went for naught. And Colorado with a power play that went for nothing. Dennis Savard, brilliant playoff career. 164 playoff games and 173 career points.
Here's the draw taken by Ciccone. Clearing to center. That rush broken up. Now Ciccone in his own end. Clears it back into the Colorado zone, and John Clemens on it. Clem cleared it to the right side. Corbet got spun around. Ciccone knocking him down. And now in the Colorado zone, the Avs able to clear it back to center ice. Amani then lost to Saki. Cuts in a backhander. Just missed the far post. Rebound in behind Corbet. He got checked before he could pass it. Now Ciccone just slugged him, got away with that. And they battle away in behind the Chicago goal. And now they've held it long enough for a whistle.
Fawcett being kind to the Blackhawks here in this second period. A couple of occasions he could have easily whistled penalties, and there was an instant right there where Lamonte fans on his clearing attempt, overskates it. And you don't want to do that when Joe Sakic's around you, and you're apt to do it when it's Joe Sakic. This was great offensive skills. Only 65 games played for Sakic this year. Still led the team, or second in scoring behind Forsberg, who also played 65 games. 22 goals and 52 assists for Sakic.
Now the draw in the Hog zone. They battle for it along the near side. And Suter able to pick it up. And his pass around the boards. Probert did a fine job to pick that one up. Got it ahead to Craven over the line. Left it for Probert. Offside is the call, however.
Well, let's hope that Zhamnov can recover from his ankle injury and be back and ready for Friday. Because the Hawks, with their little offense anyway, can ill afford to have a guy like him out of the lineup in games against. 42 assists and 62 points.
Now the draw. Probert put it in behind the Colorado net. Craven tried to center. Waugh blocked it and rolled ahead, but Amani was well covered. What a play by Gusarov, and now Probert is upset with somebody, and that guy goes into the turtle. Adam Foote. Bob Probert and Foote were wrestling hard in the far corner while the Hawks had a scoring chance right in front of the net. Probert taking off after Foote, who tried to dive through any hole in the ice he could find, it looked like. Robert's got a nick around his right eye. Probably had something to do with his being upset.
Foote, certainly one of their top defensive defensemen. He has been outstanding, a second-round pick. And he is as good as anybody on that right point in the defensive posture for this club. But Bob Probert just irate with Foote, took a swing at him and chased him. And Foote went down, and no further damage, but it'll be interesting to see the call. It looks like Colorado will get another power play. Not what you want when you're down by 4. But when you're down by 4, maybe you can take some liberties if you're going to try and soften a team up. But bad penalties really hurt them in the first period. Colorado scored on 2 of them. And that's why they have a 4-goal lead.
So Bob Probert gets a double minor while Foote gets a single, and the Avalanche indeed will head to another power play opportunity.
And Jim Cummins is in the penalty box as well.
He's serving the other minor for Probert, I believe. And here comes Joe Sakic racing to the Hawk line. Sakic, a wrist shot, sailing wide, rebound, chopped to the near corner, Forsberg. Peter Forsberg moved it to the deep slot, Ozolinsh. His centering pass hit Miller, who tried to chop it loose. He did, and the Hawks are able to clear. Five minutes to go in period 2 now. 4-0 in favor of the champions. As they make a two-line pass here, and the whistle sounds.
Valery Kaminsky, highly skilled. Set back the first couple of years with Quebec with some nasty injuries, some broken legs and ankles. But he has been terrific for them the last couple of years.
Be 31 years old on Friday when Game 2 of this series takes place. Back here in Denver. 7 o'clock with the pregame shows on MVP and Sports Channel for that one. And the Hawks return home for Games 3 and 4 Sunday afternoon, a 1 o'clock start. And Tuesday night, a 7:30 start. For Games 3 and 4 of this series. Here come the Avs. Young, center one. Jones, a backhander, goes just wide. Ricci behind the net. Poked it to the near corner. Chelios out dueling 2 Avs to get to it. Tried to clear it and got help from Carney to do so. Now Lefebvre has room to center. Bounced it ahead, but right to Weinrich. He clears it back the other way. And Dallas has taken the lead at home 3-2 over Edmonton in the third period of their game. Here comes Ozolinsh over the Hawk line to Deadmarsh. He dropped it back, Clem centered. Over to the far side, it winds up. Ricci put it in behind. Now they wrestle for it there. Ricci got to it on the near board. His pass deflecting. Deadmarsh picked it up, got it to Ricci with a shot. He scores! Mike Ricci shot it right through the legs of Eric Weinrich. And the Avalanche score for a 5-0 lead.
Third power play goal. Ricci. Some great little work here by Colorado with some short passes in traffic. 2 or 3 little short passes. Weinrich deflects it, but Ricci keeps it alive. Batted with a glove down. Little soft pass, another soft pass, and Ricci with a quick release. Three Colorado players touched the puck, Pat. Not one of those passes was longer than 5 feet. Unselfish movement of the puck in traffic, and Ricci buries it. And Jeff Hackett's going to get a break. And Chris Terreri's going to relieve him with 3:46 to go here in the second period. Power play goal, third power play goal of the game. Is that an even strength or power just as the penalty expired?
Came a second after, so officially it will be an even strength goal. Deadmarsh and Keith Jones were the ones who made those passes my partner referred to, and Mike Ricci finished at 16-14, 1 second after the power play of the Avalanche had expired. So Chris Terreri is on in relief of Jeff Hackett now, and the Hawks are down by 5. We have 3.5 left in the second period. The Colorado Avalanche with a commanding 5-0 lead over the Chicago Blackhawks. Back in a moment on the Blackhawks.
Well, as that goal was scored, Bob Probert came out of the box, said something to the official, or while in the box, and he'll get 10-minute misconduct penalty at 16-24.
Here's the draw now, controlled by the Hawks' chance. He dumps one in. Wow, cleared it to the near side. Ciccone Delivered a bump along the boards, but the puck came loose to center. Here's Keane over the Hawk line, near side. Center, one Lacroix. Shot and a save by Terreri. Rebound held in by Keane. Centered, but the pass was behind Yell. Now the Hawks able to clear it back into the Colorado zone. Eric Lacroix dumping it back into the Blackhawk end. Here's Chelios for Cummins on the right wing boards. His pass slides free into the Avalanche zone. Corbet hammered by Cummins along the boards. Corbet's hurt and no penalty. The Avs are up in arms on their bench. Now it bounces around to the Colorado zone. Now taken by Cummins in the corner. Got it in deep for Miller. Walks in front of backhander and a save by Waugh. And he holds on, and now Cummins drops the gloves and goes after Foote. Adam Foote just turtling and getting out of the way of that possible fight. And they're battling and wrestling in front of the Avalanche goal now.
Now the horses are already out of the barn, boys. It's 5-0, a little late. I don't think this is going to prove anything. I don't think this team can be intimidated. There's some bad penalties really hurting the Hawks in this game. And now the composure is starting to something that they're... Cummins better be careful. He's going to get a penalty for manhandling McCourt. Foote took exception to the hit. He took a run at Cummins in the corner, knocked his glove off, and then Cummins tried to goad him into a penalty.
Cummins is trying to wrestle his way back toward the scrum in behind the goal, and Dan McCourt a magnificent job of keeping him away from that.
He's got to put him in the penalty box. There's something that's seriously going to happen. Hawks will be shorthanded again, I'm sure.
Everybody's starting to separate from behind the Hawk net.
But Corbet was flattened by Cummins. I understand that. I don't know if he had the puck or not, Pat, coming around the boards. Cummins got away with one. The Hawks have gotten away with a few other, and that was an elbow right to the head off the glass. And got away with that one, and then Foote took a run at Cummins in the corner. Cummins took exception to that, chased Foote to the front of the net. The sucker punched him, drilled him a couple of times. Foote had not dropped the gloves or the stick. And I would think it'll be another power play for Colorado.
So now the three officials confer about everything they saw. Mark Fawcett is his decision made and passing the penalties along to the minor officials in the penalty box.
Nothing Colorado lead, and just 2.5 minutes left here in the second period.
And Dale, a final score from Detroit, 2-0. St. Louis goes in and shuts out the Wings in the opener of that series.
Well, they beat them in the last regular season game to force this matchup. And they score the first goal of the game. The last minute of the second period, first period, they scored it, and they hold on. Grant Fuhrer probably marvelous in that win. So Sutter and Gusarov 4 minutes each for roughing, and Cummins a roughing call. And Colorado with a 5-0 lead. We'll go to the power play.
They've scored 2 power play goals. They scored another just 1 second after it would have been counted as a power play. So, as we mentioned at the outset tonight, Colorado's special teams are very good, and they've proven it in spades in the opener of this series.
penalty killing is excellent at home. First overall at home, third overall in total penalty killing. Power play, third overall. We talked about being physical against this club, but physical and taking stupid penalties are two different things, and the Hawks have been guilty of taking many of those in this particular game. And Colorado's made them pay. So now what do you do?
Asking me, are you?
No, it's just a general question.
No, exactly. And I tell you what, lots of teams around the league are going to be asking it too against this outstanding group. Boy, this Avalanche team that is so good at the top of their lineup, the marvelous skill and talent that they have, but what really seems to separate them is the depth. And they got guys out there as their 5th and 6th D and their 3rd and 4th liners who are quality NHL players.
I think a lot of teams have the misconception that they're not a tough team without Simon and any types of players like that, but they're tough in regard to the fact that they'll give a hit, take a hit, and to make the plays. And their work ethic is as good as anybody's in the league, combined with their talent level.
There's a chance for the Avs, and Terreri managed to make a point-blank save on Kaminsky's attempt. And now it's cleared back ahead. Here's Daze trying to cut to the net. A backhander, save, rebound, Chance, shot it wide. An open side for Jeff Chance with a short-handed opportunity. He missed the net. Avalanche back over the Chicago line. Dropped it to Kaminsky on the near board. He leaves it for Forsberg. Side of the goal, a centering attempt, and a shot from Avalanche drifted outside the post. Now the near side, Chelios able to win the puck and clear it. And he and Forsberg have some words. Forsberg gave Chelios a little shot around the knee earlier in this shift with his stick. Now here's a lead for Savard. In over the line has Miller with him. Savard for Miller, and the puck was rolling, and he shot it up high. Now it's cleared to center. Deadmarsh in over the Hawk line. Stops on the near board. Now battles into the slot. He shoots, and he shot it wide. And it bounced all the way back to center ice. Now the Chicago penalty over. Both teams are at full strength. As Eric Weinrich is deep in his own end. Put it to the near side. Bounce to center where Cummins shoots it in. To the near corner, Amani battles along the boards for it. And then Mike Ricci able to come away for the Avalanche. And clear it back into the Chicago zone. Jones is the target of Cummins' anger as the second period comes to an end. Cummins was yapping at Jones all the way up the ice. Jones said something back, and the linesman, with a fine job of recognizing a potential problem, kept those two from getting together. And look at Mark Crawford. He is red-faced, and he's got a right to be, I think. I think the scoreboard has had a little something to do with penalties or non-penalties in the second period. And as Dale mentioned earlier, the Hawks have gotten away with some things here in this middle period here tonight. Yakking going on as the players head toward their respective dressing rooms. They don't go out the same way, but the two exits are very close to one another. An ample opportunity for conversation, and fortunately nothing more at this point. But again, a fine job. Gord Brosiker and Dan McCourt have really been on top of things as best they can, and they've done an excellent job so far in this game in their roles as linesmen. Mike Ricci got the only goal of the second period. Assisted by Adam Deadmarsh and Keith Jones at 16-14. That brought on Chris Terreri in relief of Jeff Hackett. And that was one of 10 shots on goal for Colorado. The Hawks had 7 in the second period. And through 2, it's 26 Avalanche shots, 17 Blackhawks shots at the end of 40 minutes of play. Colorado 5, Chicago nothing on the Blackhawk Network.
5-0 Avalanche at the end of 2 periods of play. Jim Blaney along with Murray Bannerman. And Murray, does this at all bring back the nightmares you faced against the Edmonton Oilers sometimes in the playoffs in the 1980s?
Well, for me, it doesn't bring back any nightmares. I don't have to face this Colorado Hockey Club. They are a good club, and they're probably every bit as good offensively as those Edmonton Oilers were. They've got good team speed. They move the puck real well. You give them a chance, and it ends up in your net.
Hey, we could sit here and analyze this thing all night long, but the fact of the matter is the Avalanche are firing on all cylinders, and it's just not the Blackhawks' night. The Avalanche are taking advantage of Blackhawk mistakes by going to the power play and cashing in. We're through 2 periods of play, and as is our custom, it's time for a look and a listen to tonight's Ameritech Call of the Period.
The boards, and it hopped away from Chelios. Here's a 2-on-1. Denmark in over the line, cuts to the net, stick handle, center one, a shot. Hackett diving to his left. Now the rebound, and the shot off the side of the net, I believe, by Denmark, who shoots again. And he shot this one wide.
More to come during the intermission. We'll take a look around the league as the Avalanche are putting it on the Blackhawks 5-0 at the end of 2. We've talked a lot about the Edmonton Oilers of the mid-'80s tonight during the course of the game. Well, how about this one? Grant Fuhr posting a shutout as St. Louis goes into Detroit and beats the Red Wings in Game 1 of their quarterfinal series. 2-0 the final score. Courtnall and Turgeon with first-period goals. They stand up as St. Louis jumps out to a 1-0 series lead. Speaking of the Edmonton Oilers of the mid-1980s, what about if Andy Moog picks up a victory tonight for Dallas over Edmonton? Dallas and Edmonton tied 3-3 in the third period. Doug Wade, a goal at 6:58 of the third to knot the game at 3 apiece, and they are just underway in Anaheim. The Phoenix Coyotes against the Mighty Ducks. That game is 0-0, just underway, as I mentioned, in the first period of play. 5-0 Avalanche over the Blackhawks at the end of 2 periods of play. We will check the mail, so to speak, coming up after this timeout. Revisit the puck priorities delivered to you by the United States Postal Service's Priority Mail. Say no to Joe? Not quite. 2 assists for Joe Sakic in the game. Don't get beat by Pete. Well, this goal's been changed back and forth so many times that we're leaving it the way for now that it was changed to the second time it was changed in case it gets changed back for a 4th time. 2 points for Peter Forsberg, no matter how you slice it. And Hope Pat is flat. Not quite. Murray, 17 saves for Patrick Waugh in what has been an outstanding performance by practically every member of the Colorado Avalanche so far in this game. Let's get to the highlights of the game to this point. Let's check out the second period highlights. To be specific, Jeff Hackett, very, very busy in the nets tonight. Faced 16 shots in the opening period. Blackhawks power play. Alexei Gusarov clears around the boards. Adam Deadmarsh takes it away from Chris Chelios. A 2-on-1 going the other way, Murray.
And this was a good play by Hackett to get all the way across the net to make that save. Deadmarsh held on to it, and waited, made a great pass.
Then Joe Sakic clears it out, just misses Rene Corbet. Jeff Hackett clears it up ice. Corbet took it away. Hackett does a good job of getting back to make the save and stop Corbet. And then on the Avalanche goal in the second, Murray, this is just beautiful short passing by Colorado.
Good passing game, and their power play all night has been very effective this way. Move the puck quickly, you get an open man, move it, and then when a shot's there, make the shot. I think Hack was trying to get in on the scoring on that one play there. He was trying to get an assist.
Yeah, but Dale made a very good point. It's Jeff Hackett cleared it right to Rene Corbet, but there were no red shirts in the area as well. Where was the help? We're halfway through this intermission. When we come back after this timeout, we'll take a look ahead to the third period of play. Avalanche leading the Hawks 5-0 at the end of 2. 20 minutes left in the game for the Blackhawks. They trail 5-0. Murray, you coach. What do you say to your team getting ready for the third period in this game?
Well, there's not really much you can say. They did play better in the second period. It got a little bit out of hand toward the end of the period. But again, as we said at the end of the first period, you got to keep chipping away, hopefully get a couple of goals and get some momentum going, get something going. Even if you're not going to win this game, you've got to get something going for the rest of the series. You've got to prove to Colorado that you can play with them and that you got a chance to beat them.
Is composure the key thing for the Blackhawks in this third period?
Composure is going to be very key because you don't want to be losing guys, getting suspensions, or guys sitting in the penalty box for the whole period. It just doesn't accomplish anything. The game is out of hand. That type of stuff works best when it's done early in the game if you're going to use it as a tactic to intimidate the other team. By the time they're up 5-0, it doesn't do you any good. So there really isn't any place for it at this point in time.
And the key thing to remember is no matter whether the score is 5-0 or whether it's a 2-1 game in overtime, it still is just one loss, and Colorado is only 1/4 of the way to winning the series, and the Blackhawks still come back for Game 2 on Friday night, a game we'll have here on Sports Channel. It's getting a little ahead of the game. We've got the third period coming up. Don't forget, after the game, a full hour-long edition of the Sports Channel Report. We'll have the post-game from our contest. We will hear from Norm Van Leer about the Bulls in Miami and from Dave Otto from the Comiskey Park about the White Sox. That's all coming up on the report after the third period.
Colorado 5, Blackhawks nothing as we get ready for the start of the third period. Get the inside stuff with Bull Sox Underground. Tom Waddle is your host for features, interviews, and access you can't get anywhere else. That's Bull Sox Underground, Sunday night at 7 on Sports Channel. It's the show behind the show. Hawks were 6-25-5 when trailing. But they weren't trailing 5-0 very often against the best team in the league. We're 35-4-3, so they've blown some opportunities, but I don't imagine they've blown many 5-goal leads going into the third period. The Blackhawks will have a power play. Mark Crawford at the end of the period was livid with Fawcett, screamed at him, got a bench minor at the 20-minute mark because of some of the liberties the Blackhawks were taking with his players. So the Blackhawks with their fourth power play. They're 0 for 3. And Colorado 2 for 5 now with the man advantage.
Patrick Waugh to our left for the Avalanche, and Chris Terreri to our right for the Blackhawks. And here's the draw on the Chicago power play. It's controlled by Gary Suter. He gets help from Shantz to carry it to the Colorado line. Jeff Shantz shoots it in behind the Avalanche goal. Now Amani picked it up to the far side. Deep slot to Suter. Far point to Chelios. He fakes a shot. Gave it back to Suter, who lets it go. It's blocked. Went to Daze, and his backhander hit a skate. And deflecting to the line. Chelios kicks at it to keep it in, but finally it hops back to center, where Yell fires a long one up off the glass behind Terreri. Suter to Chelios, in over the Colorado line. Goes rink wide to Amani on the near side. He tees it up, shoots. That hit Morrow in the slot and bounced to the Avalanche with Forsberg weaving back to center. And then it's cleared up over the glass and into the crowd.
Well, Colorado only allowed 20 goals in this building all year long while shorthanded. First in the league. 20 goals in 41 games at home. With 59 seconds left on this fifth power play to try to break Patrick Waugh's bid for his 9th career playoff shutout.
A minute to go on this Chicago power play as Craven, Morrow, and Miller are out there now. Here's Chelios starting out of his own end. Gave it to Suter. Trying to feed Craven and missed him, and offside will be the result.
In games like this against teams like this, you can't make mistakes. You've got to pick up passes. You've got to make those plays when they come to you because you're not going to get many chances. And Colorado's taken advantage of theirs and finished off and made the plays, and the Hawks haven't. Combine that with some bad penalties, and the Hawks are down by 5.
Here's the draw taken by the Avs. Adam Foote clearing it into the Chicago zone. Craven sending Suter on his way, and he's forced to turn. Now carries to center. His pass deflecting. Taken finally by Miller to the near circle. Morrow cuts to the net. Center one. Waugh blocked the pass. It's chopped at. Winds up in the near corner. Miller picked it up to the line for Suter. Gary Suter centered. Craven turns. Shoots. And a save by Waugh. Rebound Lefebvre. Couldn't get it out. Suter deep slot. Bounce it to Miller near board. Kevin Miller turns and lost it. And the Avalanche able to clear it. The Colorado penalty is over in both teams. Are at full strength now. In the Hog zone, Jones rolled it back of the net. Sakic spins, had it knocked loose, then it's picked up by Jones on the near board. He shoots one. Terreri stopped the rebound. Sakic put it in front. And Ciccone able to tie up Lemieux there. Came to the near side where Krivokrasov chopped it back to the Colorado line. Taken by Keith Jones. Rolled it to the near side. Sakic lost it at the line. And it bounces around to Dennis Savard. Savard got help from Dowland to dump one in. As the Hawks try to make a change on the go. Here's Aaron Miller for Colorado to Forsberg. He bounced it to center. Deadmarsh in over the Hawk line, trying to walk away from Carney. Couldn't do it this time. Back to the goal. Deadmarsh then stole it, but ran into Daze. Now Forsberg picked up, centering a shot. Terreri the save, moving from post to post beautifully. And the Hawks start back. Daze going to get it to Amani. Moves to the near corner where Adam Foote gave him a bump. It's back to center for Kaminsky. He gets it over the Hawk line. Valerie Kaminsky dropped it back. Here's Lefebvre cutting right in, a shot. And a save by Terreri. Rebound to Amani. Clears it to the neutral zone. And Daze gets it in there. Here's Young, who had his pass stolen by Ciccone. A wrist shot is blocked. Scott Young able to pick it up. And cleared it to ahead for Sakic. Gets it over the Hawk line. Sakic centered. It deflects to Cummins, who put it to Morrow. Ethan Morrow lost it at the Colorado line. Here's Sakic battling back into the Hawk zone. Lost it, but Clem carries on. Clem rings it around the boards, and Cummins able to bounce one to the line, just outside of a hand pass, they say. Now Cummins and Sakic came together after the Colorado player Lacroix was flattened in front of the Hawk bench. And a penalty is coming up here. It's early in the third period. It's Colorado 5, Chicago nothing on the Blackhawk Network.
Bad penalty. Jim Cummins drills Lacroix, just sucker punches him, knocks him down, and gets a penalty. And Colorado with a 5-0 lead will have their sixth power play. They're 2 for 5, and they had one goal scored just a second after a Hawk penalty was over.
Ozolinsh at center, feeding Jones over the line. A wrist shot deflecting up over the glass. Or no, it hit the glass and stayed in play. It's kicked loose. Centering past Jones. He couldn't get the handle on it. Now Deadmarsh does at the side of the net. Centered one. Ozolinsh a shot and a save by Terreri. Rebound taken by Carney. And he clears it the length of the ice. Joe Sakic, oh, he nearly had a little faux pas on his own end. And to send it pass through his own slot, it hit Waugh. And the Avalanche come away with it. Here's a shot stop by Terreri to the deep slot. Sakic put it across. Deadmarsh fires. Terreri the save, rebound. Lemieux, he scored. Lemieux got a bouncing puck, but was able to lift the backhander up under the crossbar. The third power play goal of the game for the Avalanche. All on bad Hawk penalties. And it's 6-0.
Well, you contribute another goal to the power play as well, because they scored a second after. So 4 of the goals as a result of bad Hawk penalties. And they have a 6-0 lead at 5:31 of the third period. Lemieux's first. a power play goal after Terreri made a couple of good saves. Claude Lemieux was a late starter this year, missed a lot of the action. Only played 45 games. So dark here, I can't read my own writing. I think he had 14 goals in 45 games. Got 11 goals, I'm sorry. So he's looking to have a good playoff like he always does. So
Avalanche and Deadmarsh get the assists on the Lemieux power play goal at 5:31. So Deadmarsh with 3 helpers in the game. And the only question left is, can Patrick Waugh add another whitewash to his terrific career total?
Got 3 shutouts last year in the run for the Stanley Cup and 8 career in the playoffs.
Now the puck cleared into the Colorado zone. Off Dowling on the far side. Rolled it in deep. Savard gets help from Ciccone to clear it around the board. Clem trying to clear it and did get it outside the zone. Now Gary Suter got it to Krivo over the line. Krivo Krasov with a shot. Good save by Waugh. Rebound and Waugh stopped Krivo twice. Sergei Krivo Krasov has had the best chances of any Hawk player this game, and he's been stopped every time.
He had 2 prior to this one. Nice move, good shot, and then got his own rebound. And it fluttered up into the glove. He's one of the few Hawks who's been able to generate some offense.
Face-off will be to the right of Waugh. And the draw taken by Lefebvre. Rolling it out to center. Picked up by Sakic. Steps over the line near side. Centered one. A little too hot to handle for Young. Now controlled by Carney. Keith Carney got tied up in the near corner. And here's Shantz coming away with it to Morrow. Ethan Morrow gets it in there. Waugh to the corner, knocked it away from Shantz. And the Avalanche able to clear it back to the Hawk line. Carney and his pass deflect. Picked up by Kaminsky. Back into the Hawk zone. Valerie Kaminsky, a wrist shot deflecting wide. Picked up by Chelios. He cleared it ahead. Brent Sutter bangs it to the Colorado zone. Well, they wrestle along the near board. Came loose to Miller. He put it to Smith. And it went just outside the line, says Danny McCourt. So the offside whistle sounds. With 12.5 left in this one. Game 1 will go to Colorado. The Avalanche with a 6.
Well, I hate to say it, but this Hawk performance was a lot like unhooking a Wonder Bra. You're expecting big things, but nothing. Nothing. Colorado. 3 power play goals.
So we'll have a face-off outside the Colorado zone now. As we get ready for the draw, and it's controlled by the Hawks. Eric Weinrich Now works his way over the Colorado line. A wrist shot deflecting wide. Picked up by Jones. Keith Jones bounced it up the boards. Here comes Sakic. 3-on-3 to the Hog line. He was checked there. And now a whistle on the play and a slashing call against Chicago. Jim Cummins will head back to the penalty box at the 7:54 mark. So we'll have a face-off at the Chicago line as the Avalanche with a chance to add the extra point here to their 6-0 lead. Here's the draw taken by Sakic. His pass hit his skate. Now Amani takes a bit of a dive, and it's going to result in a Colorado penalty.
Power play that lasted 7 seconds. And a poor pass by Sakic resulting in an opportunity for Hawk. 2-on-1 rush. Put a little hook in Almonte, and Almonte helped his cause by taking a dive, and it nullifies the power play. St. Louis shut out Detroit 2-0. Grant Fuhr getting the shutout. And Dallas at one time in a 3-3 game late in the third scored 2 unanswered, probably an empty netter to win 5-3, and the scoreless in the first period between Phoenix and Anaheim. And here it's 6-0 Colorado with 11:59 to go in the third.
Avalanche 3 for 8 on the power play so far tonight, and another goal they scored came 1 second after the power play expired. Four skaters aside now as Amani clears it ahead. Craven spins in the Colorado zone, rolled it to Chelios near corner, and then his pass deflects back to center ice. Murray Craven drops one deep into his own end, taken by Keith Kearney. Now Chelios. Left side to Chance, battles into the Colorado zone, forced to the corner where he's checked. Now Daze came out of there with it, moves into the slot on his backhand, he shoots, he scores! Eric Daze with a backhander.
Well, hold it now. I think they're going to go upstairs. Jeff Chance might have been in the crease as he cut in front, so they're going to review it. Good work by Chance to get it to Daze. Then he goes to the front of the net. Daze goes to the slot, goes to the backhand. Tough one to call. From our angle, it looked like his skate might have been on the line. It might not have been. Well, was he pushed in or not?
Was he hit? Yeah, he was hit.
That had no impact on the goal whatsoever. That's why the rule is ridiculous. No goal. Man, it's just absurd. At worst, his skate was on the outside part of the crease. Had no impact on the goal whatsoever. But that's the rule, and his left foot was at least on the line. Daze makes a good effort. Waugh moves from right to left. Chance has nothing to do with the goalie. He's shoved into the crease by Yell. If he at all was touching the crease, his left skate goes towards the crease. It's in the crease, no goal. Had no impact on the goal, but the rule states that you can't be in the crease. And the goal nullified, and Patrick Waugh's shutout bid is still alive.
And the draw is controlled by the Avalanche. Lefebvre is back of his own net. And it cleared ahead. Yell unable to receive it. And Daze in his own end. Jammed it back to the center ice area. Picked up by Suter. Now Gary Suter. That is pass picked off. And it's gathered in by Weinrich now in his own zone. Gave it to Suter. Now Crebo back to Suter to the Colorado line. And then he had it knocked off his stick. Now the Chicago penalty is over, and now the Colorado penalty is over. Both teams are back at full strength. And we're now halfway through the third period of this one. It's 6-0 Avalanche. Savard centered. A shot hit a skate from Dowland, deflecting wide. Mike Keane couldn't get it out. Ciccone trying to keep it in there. Finally, Lacroix took it away. Got it to Sakic. Sakic over the Hawk line. Had his pass deflect to Miller. Kevin Miller for Sutter. A long wrist shot sticked away by Patrick Waugh. The rebound deflected up toward the net, and Waugh will glove it and hold it.
Well, that rule is going to be a very, very controversial rule before these playoff series are over, Pat. How'd you like to be in a seventh game of a playoff situation, be in a tie game or in overtime, and have a goal like that disallowed and then end up losing a game, costing you a chance to advance or another home game or whatever, or even winning the Stanley Cup? For now, Patrick Waugh is allowed to get a shutout opportunity, and Eric Daze sits on the bench confused why that goal is not allowed.
Well, let me ask you this. Which do you think will create more controversy? The rule the way it is now, or if you open it up to the interpretation of did the man in the crease influence or have an impact on the goaltender?
I'd rather have at least an opportunity to have that called. That it had an impact or not an impact, not just be cut and dry when it has no impact whatsoever in the play. I'd rather do that and allow human nature instead of just being like that. I really would. As they'll be right more than they'll be like this. This is just nonsense. An empty net goal. The other, what was that one situation where we're in? The goalie was on the bench. The intent of the rule is to protect the goaltenders and keep people out of the crease.
Face-off will be to the right of Waugh. Here's the draw. Ciccone along, wrist shot sailing wide, and it's picked up by Lacroix. He rings it around the boards. Amani back of the net. Gets help there from Craven. They're going to have a penalty coming up here. And now Probert just railroads a guy to the inboards, and he's looking for some trouble. And will he get it? Lacroix came near him, but the linesmen stay in between once again. And some more pushing and shoving. Now Detmarsh had something to say to Probert. Brasiker's in between them. Ciccone's in the middle of a potential altercation as he and Young have hold of one another. Ciccone wants at somebody else, though. And Young trying to hold him back from that. Still has hold of Ciccone's sweater, and now Enrico turns his attention toward the Colorado forward.
It should be another Colorado power play. Bob Probert intent on working over somebody. Went after Detmarsh twice. should have been called earlier in the game. And a lot of this nonsense would have been eliminated.
So Ciccone and Young are both sent to their respective dressing rooms.
Penalty was going to be called originally on Probert in front of the net. Then he worked Deadmarsh over the second time, and that started the mess. Officials come in, a bunch of players gather around, and should be another Colorado power play with a 6-0 lead. 9 minutes to go in this third period. Anaheim has jumped out front of Phoenix 2-0 early in the first period. St. Louis beat Detroit 2-0, and Dallas beat Edmonton 5-3. Here it's 6-0 Colorado. And now it's just a matter of ticking off the remaining 9 minutes of the third period without too many more altercations or infractions.
2 goals for Peter Forsberg in the game for Colorado. Ozolinsh, Keane, Ricci, and Lemieux have scored singles. 3 of the 6 Colorado goals have been on the power play. There was a 4th goal that came a second after a Hawk power play expired. So the Blackhawks' strategy of trying to be physical has not worked to their advantage tonight, and a game that started in decent fashion until the 6-minute mark when Colorado scored their first goal. The Hawks had a couple of great chances at the other end. Jeff Hackett had made a highlight film save on Forsberg. Things looked as if they could be promising, but once the Avalanche scored their first goal, the Hawks then took 2 bad penalties consecutively that led to power play goals for Colorado, and an ugly game got progressively uglier the longer it went along. We'll be back here on Friday night for Game 2, and the Hawks will have a day to circle the wagons in the Mile High City and try to figure out a different approach, because this one didn't prove to be very successful. 7 o'clock with the pregame shows on MVP and Sports Channel on Friday night. 7:30 with the puck drop from McNichols Arena. Friday night for Game 2. Here's the play deep in the Hog zone. Ricci centered a shot. Terrari from post to post. A great save against Jones. And the Hawks' Chelios clears it back into the Colorado zone. Here's Shams trying to steal, but it's knocked away from him. Out comes the captain, Joe Sakic. Sakic gets it into the Hog zone, put it to Ricci, cuts in center. Kaminsky. His shot went just wide. Now it's held in to the far side for Kaminsky, near Dot Ozolinsh. Ozolinsh rolled it around the boards. Daze to the far side, picked it up and backhands it the length of the ice. Kaminsky rolled it ahead. Here's Lemieux cutting up the slot. Oh, and his pass was a little too far for Forsberg. Now came to the near side. In behind the goal, Peter Forsberg works his way to the far side as Smith tries to work him over. Smith then kicked it loose. The race is on to center. And Forsberg able to get back to recover it. And Peter Forsberg moves back up the left side, in over the line. His pass deflecting into the center ice area with half a minute left on the Colorado power play. Forsberg over the Hawk line. Tried to center, Miller stealing and clearing. Now a lead pass doesn't connect with Lacroix, who is coming onto the ice on a change. And the whistle sounds for an offside play.
Fans upset here behind us. They want that play not to be called. They want them to continue action so they can get out of here. Oh, these guys are intelligent. Must be that clean air up here. Well, back to the drawing board for the Blackhawks. For the good news is, Pat, it's only 1 game.
That's
Fortunately,
right.
it's not total score.
Yep.
And that's the only good news.
The draw. Controlled by Colorado. Meanwhile, both teams are at full strength now. As Suter has it in his own end. Gary Suter slides it to center ice. Taken by Lefebvre. Threw it to the Hawk line. Carney there. Got it to Krivokrasov. For Savard over the Colorado line. He chipped it into the corner. Krivo put it in deep. Dowling bumped it loose there. Now it squirts free to Miller for the Avalanche. And Miller had his pass deflect, but Lacroix carries on. Gets it over the line to Miller, to Lacroix at the near dot. We're going to have another Hawk penalty as Lacroix's shot deflects wide, and as Chicago controls, the whistle sounds. Colorado back to the power play. The Avalanche own a 6-0 lead on their way to a Game 1 victory here tonight. We have 6 minutes left in this one. Back in a moment on the Blackhawks Network.
10th power play of the night. How many years ago was that debacle in Minnesota where the Blackhawks had 52 power plays against in like 3 games?
It was a 6-game series after the Hawks had won the President's Trophy, best record in the league. They got bounced in the first round. It was 54 power plays, I think, that Minnesota had in the 6-game series. And the Avalanche on their 10th power play of this one, their 4th of the 3rd period. Krivo gets a slashing penalty at 13:44. Here comes Ozolinsh. And he bounces it into the Chicago zone. Chelios back. Couldn't get it out. Held in by Ozolinsh. Moves toward the net, then shoots it. Hit a skate, came back to him. Ozolinsh centered, a shot by Corbet. And a save by Terreri. Rebound to the Avs. Clem in the deep slot. Sends it around the boards. Keane far corner.
Mark Crawford giving guys some power play time that normally wouldn't with a 6-0 lead.
Now it bounces around to Chelios. His clearing effort hit his teammate Smith, then rolled back to the goal. Lacroix wrestling there with Smith. And it came loose to the far side. A centering pass. Daze broke it up to Shantz, and he cleared. A minute remaining on the Colorado power play. 5 minutes left in the game. Lemieux ahead for Sakic. He's got the Hawk line. His pass taken by Lemieux to the far circle. Shooting blocker save. Terreri rebound. Terreri stopped that attempt as well. And Amani able to clear it to center ice. Weinrich sends it down the rest of the way. Claude Lemieux gets help to dump one in, but Weinrich back with plenty of time. He gave it to Kevin Miller to center. Miller gets around a check, gets it over the line, centered, but the pass was behind Sutter. And the Avs start back. Stefan Yell lost the handle at the Hawk line. However, meanwhile, the Chicago penalty over. Both teams are at full strength now. Now Miller for Chicago. Sails it back the other way. It's going to be icing against the Hawks. 4 minutes left to go in Game 1. It's 6-0 Avs on the Chicago Blackhawk Network.
Tune in to Kevin Matthews and Jim Shorts from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. only on your sports and entertainment station, AM 1000.
Please continue. The crowd is. As the Hawks have Dowling over the line, a long wrist shot sailing up high. Savard on the far board, left it for Krivo to the near point, a wide open Suter. Here it comes, and it never got through. Deflecting to Dowling, he turns, advances it. Here's a shot, and Savard's shot deflected up over top of the net. And the Avalanche Avalanche start back. Peter Forsberg in over the Hawk line, stopping, then left it for Lefebvre. Fires. Terreri fought it off. Lefebvre got all of that after he was set up perfectly by Forsberg. Now Forsberg just hammered by Probert. They both hit one another in a clean manner, and legal hit at center. Then Probert just suckered him. Now Foot comes in on Probert, and the gloves are off, and Probert trying to land a couple of short shots. Well, Forsberg, after making a pass, saw Probert coming, and there was a huge open ice collision, a good clean one. But then Probert went outside the rules and really gave him a cheap shot.
Well, Forsberg saw him come. He gave him a bit of an elbow pat, but still, Probert just went off on him and drilled him. And Foot came to the aid and held on. Forsberg dumped it in, saw him come, gave an elbow. Probert elbow, took exception to it, gave him a straight right, and then Foot came into the aid of his centerman Forsberg. And it's been ugly. Been an ugly performance. Well, Cummins and Probert have spent a ton of time in the penalty box here in the second and third periods. Probert had 4 minutes in the second and a misconduct. And he's had 2 more plus whatever this penalty time is going to be.
Well, Probert and Foot each get 5-minute fighting penalties, and Probert has a roughing call tacked on. So power play number 11 for the Avalanche. And we'll have a face-off just outside the Colorado zone. Here's the draw. Cleared into the Avalanche zone. Ozelinch now gets things underway. Ozelinch cleared it over the Hawk line. Clem on the far side. Put it in behind Lacroix. Back to the line for Clem. He scooped it in behind the Hawk net. Terreri will try the near side. And it's picked up by Smith, who clears it the length of the ice. Now Clem with room to center. Scoops it in. Weinrich hammered it to the near side. Avalanche Steelers. Kaminsky's a big save by Terreri. Kaminsky had a point-blank chance, and Terreri got the shoulder in the path of the shot. Now back of his own net, Weinrich turns and fires at the length with a minute remaining on the Colorado power play. Kaminsky lost it at center. Carney to the Avalanche line. To send it around the board. 2 minutes left to go in this one. Now in his own end, Chelios gave it to Brent Sutter. Well, Dedmar's got to it for Colorado and dumps one in. Taken by Sutter. He carries it back to center ice. Flipped it into the Colorado zone. Unofficially, Dale, our fine stats man here, has 90 minutes in penalties for the Hawks. Meanwhile, a big scrap in front of the Colorado bench. Chelios entangled with one of the Avalanche players.
I think it might be Jones.
I wouldn't bet against that.
Ricci came in after, but I would think it was Jones. It might be the one. Chelios figuring it's 6-0. What the heck? And try to pay back for what happened in the last regular season game. Didn't have to figure that out too much. So Chelios is going to give Jones a shot in the last minute of the period.
Pushing and shoving going on after Chelios has been separated from Jones. And a couple more will get an early start in the shower as they're led to their respective dressing rooms.
This place will be rocking on Friday, that's for sure. Even more so than it was tonight. Ricci gave Chelios a little bit of a jab with the stick, and then he saw it was Jones, and he wanted to get him in the worst way. Then Deadmarsh comes in, Ricci comes in. Kirill Krasov still yapping. What's he going to do?
So Mark Fawcett and the linesman still over there trying to make sure everybody stays separated. It's going to take some time to get these penalties assessed now again. Since the end of the first period, the Blackhawks have had 11 shots on goal. Total of 21 in the game. They've had 4 here in the third, but of course they spent most of this third period shorthanded while trying to apparently soften up the Avalanche for the remainder of the series. And here's Cummins getting tossed out of the game. So he heads down the runway toward the Hawk dressing room. And I think Lemieux's going to the same thing happened to him.
Well, this is just ugly. This is embarrassing.
I really don't know what to add to that.
You know,
really
what else can you say? I mean, there's nothing more you can add to it. Outclassed tonight in a big way by Colorado in more ways than one. Anaheim has a 2-0 lead over Phoenix. The only other game. St. Louis beat Detroit 2-0, and Dallas beat Edmonton 5-3, and it's 6-0 with 1:17 left here in the third period, as Colorado scored 4 unanswered in the first, added 1 in the second, and 1 here in the third. 3 of them on the power play, and they've had a lot of practice at it. They've not even had their first unit on most of their power plays since they've built up the lead.
The last couple, actually, we mentioned that people that don't normally get a chance have been given the opportunity by Mark Crawford to get some power play time. The only thing that's been surprising at all in that sequence, I don't think Forsberg has been on the ice with 2 goals to his credit tonight. I think that he might get a chance to get his hat-trick goal, but that still may happen. The Hawks are going to be shorthanded to finish this game. It appears Chelios will get the extra minor penalty from this last set of infractions.
Number 22, Lemieux, a 10-minute misconduct. Time of the penalty.
Lemieux with a 10-minute misconduct. He was upset with Fawcett. 4 minutes to Chelios, 2 minutes to Jones, and another power play for Colorado, and that sounds like a broken record. What's that, a dozen power plays?
That will be number 12, right?
Chris Terreri has come in and done a nice job in the nets. He's allowed the 1 goal, but he's made numerous big saves, tough saves. After he replaced Jeff Hackett at the 16-14 mark of the second period when Ricci made it a 5-0 game. 1 second after a Hawk penalty had ended.
Back to the play now with Colorado continuing with a man advantage. The play is in the Hog zone. Yell near point to Clem. Across to Lefebvre. Flip shot sails wide. Kane to the near side. Kane center. Too hot to handle for Lacroix. Then Lefebvre shoots. That didn't get through. We go to the final minute of this one as Weinrich clears it the length of the ice. Lefebvre dumping it in as the crowd gets to their feet here in Denver, saluting the defending champions who start the defense of their title in dominant fashion here tonight. Half a minute to go in the game as it's dumped into the Colorado zone. Now here's Morrow dropping the gloves in front of the Colorado net. He and Ricci come together. Morrow trying to get the right hand loose. He does. Lands one on Ricci. Ricci trying to answer as they wrestle one another to the ice. What do you think most of the questions in the press conferences are going to be about? Pulled apart, his sweater off, and Ian Ricci will head to the dressing rooms.
A lot of the questions will not be about hockey.
That's really what I'm saying. Yeah, I doubt that there will be many questions about hockey, and I doubt that much of the media attention in the next day or two will be about the marvelous skills that the Avalanche put on display, especially early in this game. Boy, some of the goals they scored were of the highlight film variety because of the quick, accurate passing. And yes, Jeff Hackett was hit for 5 goals tonight. How many can you point the finger at him on? I don't think so either.
Not Jeff Hackett's fault. He was left unprotected for most of the game. Just a very poor performance by his mates.
Face-off will be just outside the Colorado line. We have to tick off 19 more seconds before Patrick Waugh records his 9th career playoff shutout. Here's the draw, taken by the Avs. And now it's Cleared into the Chicago zone. Terreri played it off the glass, not out. Clem, a long shot, sails wide, and mercifully, game one comes to an end. 9 postseason shutouts in the marvelous career of Patrick Roy. In the third, Claude Lemieux got a power play goal, the third of the game for Colorado, assisted by Avalanche, and Deadmarsh at 5:31 shots on goal. In period 3, the Blackhawks had 4. The Avalanche had 12. And your game total 38 for Colorado, 21 for Chicago. Game 1 to the defending champions in dominant and decisive fashion. Your final score tonight, Colorado 6, Chicago nothing.
Jim Blaney and Murray Bannerman back in the studio. And Murray, I guess the best way to sum it up is the champions played just like champions in this one.
Yes, Colorado played very well today, Jim. You got to give them credit. They showed their skill level, and that skill level at this point in time is much better than the Hawks. The Hawks got a little frustrated, and toward the end of the game there's a lot of nonsense going on, but that doesn't take away from the fact that Colorado was a better team, a much better team tonight.
Our Southwest Airlines save of the game tonight turned in early by Jeff Hackett, and it really turned out to be an indication of things to come, because Jeff Hackett kind of left by his lonesome, made a big save to keep it 0-0 at that point. That is our Southwest Airlines save of the game. Our Bud Ice player in the game tonight, we go with Sergei Krivokrasov. He had 2 good offensive chances, and really about the only great chances the Blackhawks had in the game tonight. So he is our Bud Ice player of the game. And in our Southwest Airlines partner player contest, man, you talk about thinking you won but didn't get it. Jim Bangard of Homewood took Eric Daze. He put the puck in the net, but the goal didn't count because of the ever-popular foot in the crease rule. So that's a wrap on our game tonight. Don't forget the Sports Channel report is coming up next. The Avalanche take a 1-0 series lead by beating the Hawks 6-0 in Game 1. Stay tuned. The Sports Channel report is coming up next. Blackhawks and the Colorado Avalanche. We will paraphrase Yul Brynner in the 10 Commandments, and we will say the Colorado Avalanche, the champions, they are champions. And they proved it tonight against the Blackhawks in a tour de force performance by cashing in many times in the power play early going. Jeff Hackett making a huge save on Peter Forsberg, keeping the game 0-0. But get ready for the Avalanche, folks, because here it comes, and there's nothing you can do to stop it. The rebound pops out to Mike Keane. He dumps it by Jeff Hackett for a 1-0 Colorado lead at the 5:54 mark of the first period. Then, on the power play, Claude Lemieux puts it down low to Joe Sakic. Look at the pass right onto the tape of Sandis Ozolinsh for the goal that made it 2-0 in favor of the Avs. Another power play in the first period. Ozolinsh to Sakic over to Peter Forsberg. It did not go in off Valerie Kaminsky. 3-0 in favor of the Avalanche. Forsberg's first goal of the playoffs. Still in the first period. Kaminsky leaves it for Adam Deadmarsh. He goes to Forsberg, his second goal of the game. 4-0 in favor of the Avalanche at the end of one period of play. Second period, Jeff Hackett handles the puck in his own end, gives it away to Rene Corbeil. However, watch Jeff Hackett get back into position, and he'll make the stop on Corbeil, keeping it a 4-0 game for the moment. Later in the second period, loose puck along the boards. Adam Deadmarsh comes up with it. 2 quick passes. Boom, boom, and it ends up back on the stick of Mike Ricci, his first goal of the game. 5-0 in favor of the Avalanche. That was it for Jeff Hackett. Chris Terreri came in after that, but let's face it, with all the power plays Hackett had to face, you can't put the finger of blame on him. Sergei Krivokrasov trying to get at least 1 goal for the Blackhawks. Patrick Roy coming up big as he did all night long, making the glove save there. 21 saves on the night for Patrick Roy as he picks up his 9th career shutout. And here's another thing, too, that maybe people have forgotten about a little bit. For Patrick Roy, these are back-to-back playoff shutouts as well. Because remember, he blanked Florida in the Cup-deciding game last year in Game 4 down in the Miami Arena. So Patrick Roy right on top of his game. The Colorado Avalanche on top of their game as well. Murray, let's focus on the Avalanche because they were outstanding tonight. The Blackhawks were just outclassed in this game.
Yes, they were. And the one thing the Avalanche showed that the Hawks have to find a way to neutralize is good team speed. Even when they weren't on the power play, they had some odd man breaks. They made things that when it appeared to be nothing, only because of their speed. The Hawks need to find a way to slow this team down. They have to get in front of them. They have to slow them down through the neutral zone so that they don't have that much speed coming into their zone.
The good news for the Blackhawks is, in spite of the fact that they were beaten rather soundly tonight, it only counts as one game in the overall scheme of things, and the Blackhawks will get a chance to come back on Friday night and try and catch the Colorado Avalanche and even up the series. And Murray, if they figure out a way to win a game on Friday night, pick up a victory, the series is at 1-1, and they're coming back to Chicago. So in spite of the disaster tonight, everything could be okay in 48 hours.
It would be good to think that, Jim, but a lot of things are going to have to happen for them to beat Colorado. Their play is going to have to be much better, and they're going to have to hope that Colorado's not firing on all cylinders like they were tonight. So there's going to have to be some major changes on both teams for them to win.
We'll have more on this game coming up later on in the Sports Channel report, but overall in Chicago today, 1 out of 4. For one of the other teams that didn't make it tonight, let's go to Amy. That's the thing we need to do now, is start looking ahead a little bit to Game 2 and how the Blackhawks might be able to slow down the Colorado Avalanche. That's something you mentioned earlier in the show. From a technical X&O hockey standpoint, what can you do to try and slow this hockey team down?
Well, one thing they definitely have to do is they have to keep the Colorado team from going in a straight line coming through the neutral zone. As you've got their centerman or their defenseman bringing the puck up the ice through the neutral zone, you have to find a way to make those guys go sideways. That slows down their attack and it gives your guys a chance to get back and get set up. What's happened a lot of times tonight is they went straight through the neutral zone. They didn't make them go left or right, so they had a lot of speed coming through, and consequently they had a lot of odd man, like 3-on-2 and 2-on-1 situations from it.
And as we look a little bit ahead to Game 2, let's go back to something we saw tonight. And one of the key things in the game was the Blackhawks took some dumb penalties and let that Colorado power play on the ice, and the Colorado Avalanche, as we go to the tape, we will see, made the Blackhawks pay.
Yes, they did. And we talked about the Hawks being physical, not dumb. Now here you see Ciccone, left-hand shot to a guy's head. That's not a physical play. That's just a dumb penalty. And Colorado made them pay. Lemieux keeps the puck in. Now Sakic, one of the great passers of the game, bang, right, finds the open man. The Hawks had a little trouble picking up that side of the ice. Forsberg played a pretty physical game. We talked about him being physical. A good hit on Moreau. They take exception to it. You got Chelios going after him, Moreau. You got Probert coming in there. Hawks end up shorthanded again. Is that good physical play? No. Again, that is a dumb penalty. And again, Colorado makes them pay. Ozolins to Sakic to Forsberg one time. I mean, the passing and the shooting is also crisp. Quick passing. They don't wait to get caught up to it, and it's quick shooting. One of the other goals was set up on a power play. This is one that maybe could have had called both ways. Probert took a little exception, but nothing's being called. You got to keep your composure. You can't be going after a guy like that and putting your team in the hole. Again, Colorado gets on the power play. Look at the puck movement. Bang, bang. Good play here. Shot through the defenseman. Use the defenseman as a screen. Goaltender doesn't have any chance. If the puck doesn't hit him, it's going in the net because the puck goes through the defenseman and he can't see it till it's almost past him.
Murray, let's go back to the Probert-Forsberg little dust-up that Adam Foote came in and jumped to the defense of his teammate. Now, in my opinion, I thought Bob Probert did what he's supposed to do. Went after one of the star of their player, maybe try and intimidate him a little bit. Generally, you can't intimidate Peter Forsberg, but I don't think it hurts to try. I think Bob Probert, late in the game, no matter how ugly people thought it might have been, I thought he was doing his job. Is that way off base, or has that got a little bit of truth to it?
Well, Jim, it's not way off base. Cummings and Probert, they're bigger physical guys. They got to use that size to their advantage. The only thing that I question is why not earlier in the game, if you're going to try and soften a guy up, do it then. Don't wait till the game's out of hand and it doesn't mean anything, because the effect is not as great then. They realize that a lot of it's out of frustration and you're just trying to take your frustrations out, and it's not as effective. You got to be physical earlier on in the game.
Alex Zhamnov did not play in the game tonight. Still problems with his leg from the injury he suffered in Dallas. How much of a key is getting Alex Zhamnov into the lineup because of his speed?
His speed's going to be a big key, and getting his puck handling ability on the power play, his playmaking ability both on the power play and regular strength is going to be very key. This is a team that doesn't score a lot of goals, obviously, and when they lose somebody that's a big part of any offense they do have, it hurts that much more. Colorado could lose a couple offensive players. They've still got some depth there that they can go back to. The
Blackhawks are trying to do something in this playoff season that hasn't been done often in the NHL, but it has been done in the past, and that is for a sub-500 hockey team to get into the Stanley Cup Finals. The last time it happened was in the 1991 season. That was the year that The Pittsburgh Penguins won their first Stanley Cup. The North Stars, as a matter of fact, bounced the Blackhawks in the opening round that year. The Blackhawks won the President's Trophy. The Stars won the opening series 4-2 and went on to the Stanley Cup Finals where they were dumped by Pittsburgh. Sorry, Murray, but the 1982 Vancouver Canucks, they also beat the Blackhawks in the playoffs in the Western Conference Final to advance to the Stanley Cup Final where they lost to the New York Islanders. And the Chicago Blackhawks in 1938 got to the final, and they didn't even win 30% of their games in the season. And it's just, it can be done, but what you've got to do is you've got to get rolling somewhere, and the Blackhawks are going to have to try and do that in Game 2 when they go into Colorado on Friday night. And once again, the good thing is the Blackhawks can come back on Friday night, win that game, get the series back to Chicago at 1-1. But what we saw tonight was a marvelous performance by the Avalanche, and I think the credit has to go to Colorado because they played poised. When they got the power play opportunities, they cashed in, and they showed tonight why they were the best team in the NHL 1 year ago.
Well, they showed tonight why they are the best team, and until somebody knocks them off that position, I would consider them the best team in the league. You hit it right on the head. People were thinking that maybe, you know, they hadn't played that well over the last part of the season, and some of their players weren't playing up to where they thought they should. They were ready to play tonight. That was the bottom line.
On Jeff Hackett tonight, and I ask you this question as a former goaltender, Jeff Hackett had to face a lot of power plays, and he was under the gun tonight. And certainly if you ask Jeff Hackett, he will say, I didn't play as well as certainly I feel I'm capable of. But how much of the finger goes on Jeff Hackett? It would seem to me not very much, because he was just facing time after time man disadvantages, and I think this is a loss you have to collectively pin on every member of the Chicago Blackhawks.
This was a loss. It was a total team participation. It was, as you and I were talking earlier, it was kind of hard to maybe pick a guy out of that you could consider the player of the game. It wasn't a stellar performance by very many individuals. As a goaltender, Jeff Hackett's sitting there saying, you know, every goal in some form or fashion is stoppable. So I gave up 5 goals. I'm not happy with that. And I know that with the kind of guy that Jeff Hackett is, that's going to be his attitude. And he's going to come back even stronger because he's a strong person mentally. I don't think this is going to get him down. He's going to come back stronger. And again, that attitude is every goal stoppable. I should have had a couple, but it was a team effort tonight, believe me.
I think, Murray, we can say there were no passengers tonight, to use an NHL term. We'll have more on the rest of the Stanley Cup playoffs later on a little bit in the show, but still to come in this edition of The Report, the day from the Diamonds as the
quarterfinal tonight. They lost 6-0 to the Avalanche. After the game, Peter Forsberg talked about how important it was to get out of the gate quickly.
I think we played real well, and we got a couple of goals there, and a few of them were lucky, but I mean, we played just solid the first period. I don't think they had so many scoring chances. We played a good defensive game, and you know, that's what we have to do. We have to do that and take those chances we get, you know, moving forward there.
After such excitement in this town last year with what we did, you know, we went pretty late in June, and it was hard to get up for some games this year. We all know that, but we don't want to get too overconfident that we're just a playoff team. I think just good that we played against Dallas that way, and we carried it over to tonight.
Do you think that there's a risk of overconfidence for Friday's game with the success of tonight's game?
I think maybe if we were not so experienced, but we are experienced, we know we have to come out even better next game, and that's the great thing about this club in the dressing room. That's pretty much the first thing guys talk about is let's stay level-headed and let's not get too high and be ready for them to come out and explode next game.
They got a physical team, and we knew that they're going to play physical, and I think everybody expected that. And you know, I don't know. I think we got a couple of goals in the start, and I think they came out that hard as we thought they should, and they would. And I mean, I think they played physical in the start too, but we played really well, and they didn't catch us in the first period, I think.
You also made them pay. I mean, every time you guys were on the power play, most of the time you capitalized on it.
Yeah, that was a big part. I mean, if we didn't do that, you know, maybe the strategy could have worked. But I don't know how many. I think we got 3 power play goals, and that's huge in playoffs.
Most important thing is the way we play all night with a lot of discipline, and you know, the most important thing in playoffs is when the battle on the scoreboard.
Were you surprised at how rough it got at the end of the game?
No, not really. We all expect that. I mean, nobody likes to get beat like that, but you know, we got to be ready for the next game, and it was a big win for us tonight,
we played extremely well in the first period, and we jumped on them right off the start. And I think it'll be important for us to do the same thing, exactly the same thing, on Friday night.
You said before you knew it might be a sharp night for you before the game. Did you have that feeling tonight that you might be a sharp night for you?
Well, I could tell that the team was going to have a very good game. The coaching staff make sure that we were all prepared, very well prepared for that game, and I think that was the case. And we didn't came here to take them lightly, and it was important for us to play hard and try to take advantage of the first period, and that's what we've done.
You've been in both experiences on the losing end of the Stanley Cup championship and the winning side. Is this something where your experience can help in the locker room to keep everybody focused, not get too overwhelmed by the win for tonight?
Well, I think the objective is win the series, and as you know, we're leading only 1-0 right now, and it's important for us to come back tomorrow and put our focus in the next game. And I think we got a very good bunch of guys, great leadership on our club, and I think that should not be a problem. I mean, we should be ready for Friday night and have another solid game.
Jim and Murray will be back in a little bit with more on the Hawks' loss.
1-2, 1-2. The Blackhawks are hoping that by the time they come home for games 3 and 4, the series will be tied up at 1-1. Don't forget, we have Game 2 of the series coming up on Friday night. Game 3 is on Sunday. The game will be on Fox. We will have post-game coverage here on Sports Channel, as we usually do after a Blackhawks home game. That won't change. You just have to do the same thing for the Hawks game that folks have been doing for Bulls games for years. That is, when the network coverage is over, flip it over here to Sports Channel. Jim Blaney back along with Murray Bannerman. Let's take a look at the other games tonight in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Hard to believe, but it's been 13 years since the Edmonton Oilers won their first Stanley Cup. What's amazing is that nearly a decade and a half later, some members of that club are still key components on their current teams around the NHL. No player more so than St. Louis goaltender Grant Fuhr. St. Louis against Detroit in their quarterfinal series tonight, opening up at Joe Louis Arena. Scotty Bowman's team looking for their first win at home against St. Louis all year. First period, Blues leading 1-0. Pierre Turgeon, the tip-in of the shot by Al McInnes, beating Mike Vernon 2-0 in favor of the Red Wings. That is all Grant Fuhr would need because he was awesome tonight. Larry Murphy finds some room, gets 2 pops at it against Fuhr, didn't beat him either time. 30 saves in all for Grant Fuhr as he gets the shutout. Believe it or not, it's only his 3rd career playoff shutout as St. Louis beats Detroit. Game 2 of that series also coming up on Friday night. Edmonton and Dallas had a shootout going. Mike Modano scores late in the 3rd period to put Dallas ahead, and then Dallas gets an empty netter to make the final score 5-3 in favor of Dallas. And Phoenix and Anaheim, the only game still going. Anaheim, 2 goals from Teemu Selanne, a goal from Paul Kariya. Anaheim leading that one 3-2. They are just starting the 3rd period. Murray, let's get back to St. Louis and Detroit. Grant Fuhr still has it. The question is, do the Detroit Red Wings still have what it takes to get back to the finals where they were 2 years ago?
I don't think Detroit's as good a team as they were 2 years ago from a talent standpoint. They have a little more toughness. They're a little more physical, which they were hoping would bode them well in the playoffs. But I've seen Grant Fuhr at his best, and when he gets it going, he can be really tough. Even though you say he only had 3 career shutouts, you got to remember he played for a team that liked to run and gun, and he was often left back there by himself, but he could almost win a game by himself. And he had that kind of a game tonight, and when he gets on a roll, he could be tough to beat.
And very early in that game, Murray, we saw Detroit put on some tremendous heat, and Fuhr makes some big saves. And is he one of those goaltenders where if you're going to get to him, you have to get to him early because he picks up strength as the game goes along?
I think a lot of goaltenders are like that, Jim. Obviously, if you can get to a guy quickly, it keeps him from getting into the game. And once you do get into the game, confidence, again, such a big part of goaltending. You're in the game, you make a couple of good saves, your confidence goes up, and you feel like they're not going to beat you. The one thing I liked about what I saw with Grant tonight, though, is he was so much into the rebound shots. He was ready for them. You know, a lot of times you'll see a goaltender make a save and he's out of the play. But tonight, Grant would make the first save. If there was a rebound, he was up and ready for it. His feet were moving tremendously tonight.
Dallas Stars a winner over Edmonton. This could be a case of the team that wins this series is the last team with a goaltender standing. Neither goaltender had that great a night tonight, Curtis Joseph or Andy Moog.
No, there was some real shaky goals tonight in this game, and I think both teams are in a situation where, you know, Curtis Joseph in the past has had some good playoff series. He's struggled a little bit of late, and Andy Moog, who's coming off a good year, has not exactly excelled in the playoffs. So I think both of those teams are going to be looking for some help in goal in the upcoming years.
Blackhawks down 1-0 in their series. Murray, we'll see you again on Friday night, 7 o'clock for game time before Game 2 between the Blackhawks and the Edmonton Oilers, the Colorado Avalanche.